So I think all too much about the feud with Ernie Klein. Do you remember that?
Yeah, a lot.
You think about it a lot too?
I mean, not like all the time, but enough to be like, oh God, that really happened.
Enough to fucking cringe hard about it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, and I remember that wasn't a you or I thing.
No,
that was
I loved him.
I just went along with it because I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Like,
I listened to his spoken word and I was like, why are we making fun of this guy? I love him. I think he's funny as shit.
Dude, Ready Player One, the book,
Yeah,
was amazing.
thank you for starting it that way.
It was amazing. Oh, the movie is dog shit.
The 2 follow-up books were not so good.
Oh, yeah, because Armada was one, and I didn't know there was one after Armada. Or was that Ready Player 2?
Ready Player 2.
Ugh. Dude, Ready Player One, I remember I read that book when I was working at Kmart because the movie was coming out. And I'm like, yeah, I'll read it. You know, why not? People have talked it up. And then I'm like, holy fuck, this is the grail.
Dude, I got it from the library, and I came home, and I started thumbing through it on a Thursday.
Okay.
And I finished it on Sunday.
Wow.
Okay, I am a very slow reader.
I was going to say, that's
Very
really
slow.
impressive.
I didn't stop the entire weekend. I went to sleep, and I woke up, and I read.
I had to know, like, the resolution to the puzzles. Yeah. I had to know, like, everything. It was, all right, this is a shitty comparison, but it's the best one I can make. Remember when Da Vinci Code came out and everyone was hyping it out and the chapters were just short enough to keep you engaged to go, well, it's just 3 more pages.
Yes.
I just need to know what's going to happen.
Right.
And then they would tee you up for another cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it felt for me, but in a bigger sense because
correct.
Here's where the movie really failed, in my opinion, compared to the book. Nothing felt at risk in the movie.
Ever.
Everything felt at risk in the book.
Yes.
Everything. And it was amazing. It felt good to feel like curious.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going to happen right now?
Right.
I loved it. Loved it.
That was such a giant disappointment when I watched the movie. Yeah. I remember because I took Andy. We went to the midnight showing. And opening scene, I dropped my jaw and I was like, what the fuck? No lead up, no build up, no character, just fucking big race. I don't give a fuck about this.
Oh.
And then she was like, I loved that movie. So I made her listen to the audiobook. Yeah. And she did. And then she'll deny it, but I swear to God, dude, the day she came home and she finished it, she goes, oh, that movie sucked.
Yeah. It really did. And I think what's another big letdown about the movie, who directed that?
Do you honestly believe he directed it, or do you think he oversaw it?
I think we were in a poltergeist situation again. Mm-hmm. If anybody's familiar with the poltergeist scenario, Tobe Hooper, in name and title, is the director. Spielberg did that. He directed that movie.
Right.
I mean, down to some of the even jump scares and effects. Those are all Spielberg's idea.
Spielbergian.
Because how can a person who has directed Indiana Jones, he has directed Jurassic Park. Mm-hmm. He has single-handedly created nerd culture more than, I think the only other person who would probably be on his level would be fucking Lucas, because he executive produced like all of those movies.
Yeah.
And it's like, he didn't get it. He lost sight of his own creation.
It was shocking because everything about that movie was spectacle. Yes. And not character.
That is a really good way to put it, dude.
And everything that triggered the finding of the next egg or any information was never earned. And that's why I like the book so much, is because a kid sat in his room for 7 years just watching pop culture, just reading pop culture, and loving it and devouring it and being obsessed with it. And then it was like, oh, that could be me, because that's how I spent my life, devouring this stuff. And then you earn it because at each stage, he has earned the knowledge to do it. Everything in the movie was perchance.
Exactly right.
I happen to find this backwards thing.
Right.
I happen to hear my wife, fuck you.
He lucked into so many answers in that.
All of it none of it was earned.
It reminds me a lot of like what I imagine you and I were like, and almost like what we were talking about last time, where growing up, we had TV was our babysitter. We watched, and we were raised on old TV shows,
Right.
old movies,
Right.
and the quest to find hard to find movies, and like you earned that privilege, and that's why we are harsh judges of character of people, because they haven't earned it.
Because they haven't earned it.
And that's why when a slight deviation, but like when Marvel was getting really popular with the waves, and then people who shit on us as kids who had a passion for comics were going out saying, "Oh, Captain America is great." It's like, fuck you, dude. You don't know.
You weren't beaten up on the playground for
Right.
liking that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, now that it's socially acceptable and there's zillions of dollars behind it,
Correct.
you know, it's that always kind of irked. It doesn't bother me anymore.
Me either, but it did for a while.
Yeah, it did. I mean,
It was a very superficial level.
Yeah.
But yes, it did.
And there was a lot, I think, because of how we were treated as kids for being nerds, we hold a lot of resentment towards people that we don't feel earned it.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to Ready Player One,
Yeah.
and that has made us not only better friends, but it's also made us closer knit group of friends, because we just don't let anybody. We'll be nice to them.
Yeah, right.
But
right.
it's like, oh, you don't know Neil Breen? This guy, why'd you invite him over? You know?
I mean, it's like the hierarchy of, it's the sussing out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like the show Spaced.
Yeah. Oh, good
It's
call.
like, well, you don't like Star Trek? Why do you have a phaser?
Yeah.
It's to suss out prissy little Trekkie bitches like you. I always love that line, dude. Or that character that like.
Oh yeah.
That motif of elite nerd.
Tim Bisley.
Tim Bisley.
Tim Bisley.
Wow.
And
your memory is remarkable.
he worked with Bilbo Bagshop.
Yep.
That's who owned the comic book store. And that guy is a phenomenal comedian.
Yes.
He is one of my favorite British comedians.
Have we started the podcast, or
I think so.
I have no idea where
I think
I'm
we
gonna
have.
start this.
And actually, I'll lead into a question I had for you really quick.
Yeah.
Talking about, the quest or the plight of our main character in Ready Player One, kind of sequestering himself in a room and learning about all this pop culture. Today is what a lot of people like to refer to from a commercial perspective as Star Wars Day, because May the 4th be with you. Now, you and I, elitists, we know that day is in a couple of weeks for real, which is May 25th.
May 25th.
That's the real Star Wars Day.
Oh.
But my question for you, it's Star Wars related, but it's not your usual Star Wars. I want to understand, and it's a two-part question.
God, I feel
what is
official.
What is your first memory of watching something Star Wars related and going, I want to know more about that?
Oh.
And then the second part, what was the first version of physical media of Star Wars that you owned?
Okay. Big questions.
Right?
This is not something that could just be like done all at once.
No. Think through it.
All right. So physical media, official or just physical?
Just physical. If it's
VHS tapes from HBO.
perfect. I love that.
Recorded off of HBO. I still have them.
Oh, I love that. This is the meat. This is what I wanted to hear.
It's literally some of the only VHS I have.
Okay.
I have maybe like 20 else. And I know a lot of people would be like, you have 20 VHS tapes? That's a lot. I'm like,
No.
No. It is very much not.
Yeah, it is like back then there were different covers and different cuts
Yes.
and versions. Like it was a thing. Like
Yeah, there were a lot of different releases.
That's why I was so curious.
Yeah, so mine were straight off of HBO. They are worn out. They're watchable, but they're worn out because my thing as a kid is I would run home, like, second, third, fourth grade. I'd run home and I'd watch one movie every day.
One Star Wars movie?
One Star Wars movie.
Okay.
So I would start with New Hope.
Yep.
And then the next day I would do Empire. The next day I would do Return of the Jedi. And then maybe I'll take a break, but then the next week you start again. And I did it every week for a long time.
Yeah.
And I remember my friends were like, well, it's not cool anymore. I'm like, no, Star Wars will always be
It
cool.
will always be cool.
And like that was like foundational for my childhood. So like those tapes, like I remember when the official tapes came out, like
Yep.
not the silver gold ones, but the original with the box set.
Yes.
With the purple lettering and stuff. I was blown away by the quality. That was not HBO.
Was that the THX remastered?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So before I get into your other question, what is your first physical media of Star Wars?
Similar. Honestly, our stories are fairly similar in some respects. My first physical copy of Star Wars was the THX remastered.
Okay.
I got them in 1995 for my birthday.
Okay.
And I, like you, watched them. Maybe 95 or 96.
I'm actually thinking
94,
now.
95.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think the THX remastered came out later. I had one earlier.
Because there was a set, and that's what I was curious about. There was a set where there was a drawing of the original poster with Luke holding.
Yeah, that's the one I had.
That's the one you had.
Oh, because the THX was the photoshopped one, or the equivalent of Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I had the one before that. And I
Okay.
remember when the purple ones came out, I thought they were so much prettier.
Yeah.
Because the sound was better, even though my house was not set up for that.
No.
We were playing fucking sound out of the speakers of the TV.
Yeah, you had a mono setup probably, you know. But that was similar because it's like I got the THX remaster for my birthday, and small story leading up to this. So I kind of piggyback my answers together. My cousin showed me Star Wars at a Christmas party when I was 5. And he didn't show me Star Wars. He showed me Ewoks and the Caravan of Courage.
Oh, wait. Your first introduction to Star Wars was a side story?
It was a side story because I was a kid and he didn't think I would understand it. So he showed me the caravan, and I used to call it the Cavern of Courage. It's the Caravan of Courage.
Yep, yeah.
And I remember falling in love with the Ewoks because I was a kid.
Well,
so
right.
Lucas got me in his trap.
Yeah.
And I remember it was kind of like one of those fleeting moments where I went, that was really cool. And I would ask my cousin every time I saw him about more Star Wars stuff until finally he was like, you really like this Star Wars stuff. I think you should ask your parents for a copy for your birthday because it's coming up, or I'll let them know you want it. And so I got it.
Good cousin, by the way.
Dude, he was the best.
My cousins were shit.
He was like the only cool one. Okay. We bonded over Star Wars for like 25 years.
How awesome.
He's a great dude. But so I got that THX, and like you, I watched one movie a day.
Yeah.
Every day.
No shit.
And then me and my buddy, we got into the customizable card games, and when we hung out, we would play Star Wars cards and watch Star Wars on loop.
Oh, yeah.
My VHS tapes are so worn, especially Jedi.
Jedi was my jam as a kid too, yeah.
For multiple reasons.
Did not pick up what you were putting down, but I am now.
It's worn more in certain areas than other areas. Let me just say
Jabba's
that.
Palace, thank you for
Yes.
being the adolescent killer of my life.
Yeah. But it's funny. We had a similar routine in that respect.
Yeah.
And Star Wars opened up so many avenues of creativity and curiosity.
Yes.
That was, and my vocabulary grew. Just pronouncing Tatooine. I used to call it Tatooine because I didn't know. I was like, they're going to Tatooine. Okay.
I just want to bring this up because I know I'll forget it later.
Yeah.
So I went to space camp.
You went to space camp?
I know. I'm
I'm
such a
fucking jealous of you, dude. That was like the dream vacation.
It was awesome. So like, as a kid, I was super into aeronautics. I was into space. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to do something with space travel.
Sure.
And there was like a space club in my elementary school, and we meet every day after school, and or like once a week. I don't even fucking remember anymore. But the lady in charge was really cool about it. So she like kind of got us discounts, and we all went to space camp.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. It was so neat. But I will say this: space camp is not what you think it is. It is not the space camp movie. It is not. Hey, let's do this. It is fucking math. It is a lot of math and child, the babysitting. That's what it is.
Okay.
It is babysitting.
Okay.
One of the things I remember still to this day is, what are those things on the side of the side of the shuttle? They're called solid rocket boosters, but
Sure.
we don't say it like that. We say solid rocket boosters.
Oh,
And I remember even being a kid going, "This is dumb. Where's the Millennium Falcon?"
Oh.
But my one greatest memory of being there was I met this other nerd.
Okay.
And we'd talk about Star Wars every day. And we had an ongoing contest every day. Was who could outname characters in the Star Wars universe.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. So like I'd name one, he'd name one, and we'd just go back and forth. And then he would name like the admirals and the generals in the Imperial military. And I was like, I don't know these people. I suck. Like, I need to watch this more because I thought I was the shit.
Sure.
I didn't know anything.
Right.
So, I mean, that was not my deciding factor to learn more about it.
No.
But I just thought it was a fun little side story to be like,
I love
oh,
that.
wow, even as a kid, this kid was like, I want to know everything about Star Wars.
I love that because, yeah, people really picked up on different things. And some people got more into the EU. Some people got more, because there was
I eventually did, yeah.
There was a pretty good EU by the time I was getting into it in the early to mid 90s.
I'm so jealous of that.
I mean, but there was so much, and I won't detract from your comment, but I remember, so I hung out at a comic book store a lot growing up. Surprise, surprise. And we would talk Star Wars a lot.
Yeah,
and I remember the first time I heard about the Clone Wars. And this was a time, now there's movies, the Clone Wars
because
are
they
and all
explored
that.
it.
And there might have been EU books out there about it, but I remember this guy going, the Clone Wars. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He says, remember in A New Hope, Obi-Wan says that he fought with Luke's father in the Clone Wars? I was like, yeah, what were those? And the picture he painted for me, because it was just your imagination at that time.
Because there's no information.
And you connect dots. He explained to me, and this was my headcanon until, episode 2 came out.
Yeah.
Was that they cloned all the Jedis. So there were good Jedis versus nega Jedis, and there was a huge galactic Jedi nega Jedi battle. And I was like, this is fucking outstanding.
That would have been way better than episode 2.
Right? So that's when I watched episode 2 and I'm like, oh, they're just clone troopers? Oh.
Yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop. I remember this so vividly. My mom lived in Wheaton.
Okay.
Right next to a Barnes & Noble.
Okay.
And literally, I go visit her. I go to the Barnes & Noble, and I go to like the magazine section. They had a Star Wars magazines. And I would
Star Wars
just sit
Insider.
there.
Yep.
I loved it. But there were other ones too. Star Wars Insider was the big one, but there was always like the other like Star Log and shit like that always talked about Star Wars. And,
Sure.
And I remember one, they had not growing up, me being a Boba Fett fan is not a new thing. Boba Fett was my invisible fictional friend when I was like 3 or 4 years old. Like he was my hero when I was a child.
That's fantastic. Because he's a bounty hunter.
Because his armor was cool.
His armor was badass.
That's why he was my favorite.
And that's all you need as a kid.
So exactly. The Imperial toys always won because they had cooler armor.
Of course. They're darker. They're metal.
So the eyes wide expression that I just gave you acknowledged your statement.
Everyone saw that.
Everyone saw that. But I saw this magazine, and on the front was like a different color version of Boba Fett's helmet. So at that time, I think this was like 92 or 93.
Okay.
And I was like, what is this? I don't know who that is. What's going on? This is my favorite person in all of fiction. I need to know what this is.
Right.
So I'm reading inside, and there's a pullout, not a poster, but like a big like spread page.
Yeah.
And it's Boba Fett, and there's thousands of Boba Fetts behind him. And it says, imagine if there was a clone army of Boba Fetts.
Oh.
And I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard. I want this. I want to see this.
Yeah.
And years went by, and I remember animatics and storyboards were leaking 2 or 3 years before Phantom Menace.
Yes, I remember this.
Because I remember my friend was having sex in my room with his girlfriend. I think I was 15. 15 or no, I was 16. Sorry, I was 16 years old. This is 1996.
Yep.
He's having sex in my room. I'm on my computer, nerding the shit out. Like he might have had a good day. That for me is memorable as hell because I was seeing pod races and shit like that, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I want to know more. So then I started remembering that magazine. I'm like, wait a minute. Did information leak that early?
Okay.
Or did some nerd just go, this would be cool as the Clone Wars? And Lucas went, you know what? That's not a bad idea. So anyway, I've always thought that in the back of my head. I'm like, what chicken hatched what egg first?
Because, and it's so true, because I feel like some things where you're like, I remember reading this in the book. This is so cool. Like an EU book. And then you're like, oh, this is kind of stupid.
That shit was disappointing.
And so I remember similar leaks. I had a CD-ROM disc.
Hell yeah.
Back in the day when I think Phantom Menace, or no, it was when they were remastering the original trilogy, and they were putting the special edition was coming out.
It was like 95, 96.
Yep. And that was my opportunity to see Star Wars in theaters for the first time.
Yeah.
And my buddy and I, we had a thing where anytime we saw a movie we liked, we saw it 3 times in theaters minimum.
Really?
And it was always 3.
Interesting.
And so we saw A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi in the theaters, remastered 3 times for the special edition. And I remember I got a CD-ROM, and back then they came in these huge cardboard boxes.
Oh, they were huge, yeah.
And I think it might have come with a game, but really it was a behind-the-scenes making of Star Wars, how they shot the additional scenes for the special edition.
And it was all in flash animation that looked like 180.
Yeah, it was like, oh, that's how they did the Wampa?
Yeah, with the sticks and shit. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh shit, that's how they reshot scenes with more dancers for Jabba's palace, but they were the original dancers from Jedi.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, I think her name is Ula.
Yeah, Ula.
The Twi'lek.
Yeah.
She was the original Ula that did the original dance, and she shot more scenes. Now, it's a travesty what they did to the band.
Agreed.
That was an absolute unforgivable travesty.
Yeah, that screaming, yelling, singing shit was
There were 3 things
painful.
I cannot forgive in Jedi that they did in the special edition.
Listening.
One of them is the band.
Yep.
And it was the Max
Rebo.
Max Rebo band. Thank you. The other thing is, of course, the Jedi outline bullshit. That
Oh, yeah.
Well, and then they did it again after the prequels.
Hold on. Keep talking. I have to grab my phone really quick for something.
Please do. And the third thing is they changed the end celebration Ewok song.
Oh.
And
Nub Nub will be in my heart forever.
Yes.
Nub Nub.
Nub Nub. Grub Grub. A grub grub nub nub nub. Like, the fact that they changed those things, like, I didn't mind the other stuff in Jedi.
Right.
Those were so instrumental to my memory. Just like when they went back into A New Hope and they tried to edit in dewbacks. And you're like, the fuck? Like,
okay, so I'm on the opposite end of that.
Okay.
If you're going to edit back stuff, if you're going to edit stuff back into it and do like, whatever George Lucas said, okay, first and foremost.
Here we go.
First and foremost, we are 40s. I am 40-something bitching about Star Wars in my basement. Unlike any nerd who has ever come before me.
Yeah, fucking pussy magnet.
Oh, okay. So I just need to get that out in the open that I am
love it.
Fully self-aware of this horrible situation.
This is fiction, and I'm so mad
I'm
about
so mad. Okay.
The feels.
So I saw the first one. I saw A New Hope. And
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Well, no. It's just like, you're not a Star Wars fan. You didn't call it New Hope. You're a fucking asshole. So I've talked with those people. So I saw A New Hope, and I fucking loved the extra stuff in it.
Okay.
Because literally I have watched, and I know most people probably hadn't, but I had watched New Hope. I mean, I'm not going to go on record and say this is exactly how many times I said it, but probably a few hundred times.
Oh, easy.
By the time I went to go see that in the theater, I knew that movie backwards and forwards. That was my fucking childhood.
Yeah.
That and horror films. That's it. Not sci-fi. Star Wars and horror. That's my childhood.
I agree with you there.
So
other sci-fi couldn't. If you like Star Wars like we like Star Wars,
right.
there was no other sci-fi that mattered.
I will come back to you with that because I'm interested on where the other side of your fascination comes from.
Yeah.
But when I saw New Hope, I was blown away because it was new. And I had tracked down, at that time, I was all about tape collecting, about bootleg collecting, about like weird versions of stuff. Like I remember I traded like a bunch of anime tapes for a shit copy of Black Cauldron because I saw it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see it again. So I tracked down the Caravan of Courage. I tracked down the Ewok movie.
Yeah, the Ewok Adventure.
I did not have the holiday special, but you heard about it in rumors.
And
now you can just go on YouTube and watch all this shit.
Yeah.
But so when I saw New Hope in the theater with new content, that was my fucking mecca. I was home. I was like,
I get that.
This is amazing. And then they overdid shit.
Yeah.
The explosion at the end, fucking cool.
Oh, that was amazing.
Don't care about that stuff.
Yeah.
I cared when they added in Anakin, Kid. Well, no, that was past that. That wasn't the first time. They did that for the Blu-ray release, right?
Right. That when they put Hayden Christensen. Before in the special edition, they changed the actor
to be crusty old white man.
Yes.
Because
it was a younger version.
Correct.
When Anakin was pre-Vader. And then they made him an older version, I think. Because I remember they changed it once.
I'm getting confused. I haven't seen these versions in a long time.
I don't watch them. I only watch the despecialized anymore.
Oh.
And
it's so fucking amazing, dude. The despecialized, they took so... Okay, for those out there who don't know what despecialized is, this team of... I'm going to call them filmmakers. I don't care. They sourced the best, highest, absolute, most pristine quality of each shot of the movie from like Brazilian laser discs, Japanese laser discs, weird VHS that had higher than average like magnetic content.
Yeah.
They found all these and there's a list of them on the website, like exactly where each shot came from. I was fucking floored at how good quality it was.
Oh yeah.
It's 1080p. It's masterfully beautiful, and it's like 90 gig. It was huge.
Oh, back in the day, yeah.
But it was absolute masterfully to watch.
And it was worth it because when the special edition came out, they said, "Hey, THX, you don't exist anymore.
Right.
You're gone.
Right.
This is the new Lucas Vision."
Yeah.
And so I still have my THX tapes in the basement.
That's awesome.
And I will never let them go. Now, like I said, I've got this despecialized on my server.
Yeah.
That's all I watch. I've tried to go back and be like, okay, Disney Plus, show me what you got. Let's watch it. And it's like I start it up and I see that first edit. I'm like, nope, I'm going back to despecialized. I just can't.
So, real quick, while we're on this topic.
Yes.
So, my buddy Bob is reconnecting with his adult kid.
Cool.
I think she was 16 or something when they finally like reconnected, and it was fucking gorgeous. It's a wonderful thing.
That's awesome.
But she's a nerd too. And Bob, if I consider myself a Star Wars nerd, Bob is a Star Wars guru fucking Jedi master lore. Okay?
Oh, wow.
So like if I think I know anything about it, you talk to Bob for a second and you'd be like, "Oh, Jay, why don't you go play with the other kids? I'll sit and talk with the guy who actually knows what he's talking about."
So in a hierarchy, there's Dave Filoni, then there's Bob.
Then everybody else. Yes.
Then Favreau.
Then Lucas.
Then Lucas.
Yeah, like
he's third on the list.
Lucas doesn't know as much as Bob knows.
I don't think he does.
Bob's read all the books.
All the books?
All. This is the kid who I met in 8th grade, and in 8th grade in 1993 had read everything up until that point.
Good for him.
He worked
That's
at
amazing.
Toys R Us to get the first lines of the Star Wars toys when they were released.
That was so he got the Red Saber collections.
He got them all. Yeah. But I don't think he was getting paid enough to get them all, but he got the ones he wanted.
Sure, and that's what matters.
So he reconnected with his daughter, and they're having an amazing time being a father and daughter.
Yeah.
And he took her to go see the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. And we asked him, was like, has she not seen this before?
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, but she never really paid attention, which is fine.
Yeah.
And she goes, he said, she loved it, except for the ghost at the end. Why was Hayden Christensen in it? And we were all nodding in approval.
Yes.
It was such like this moment of like, yeah, and we get it.
And I know we're ripping kind of hard. We're ripping on the edit, not so much Hayden Christensen.
Oh, not
because
I got no beef with Christensen.
And let me tell you, I feel so much for Hayden Christensen because he took on anybody who was in those prequels.
Yeah.
Hayden, Natalie Portman, Jake Lloyd, any of those guys.
Oh, poor Jake Lloyd.
Dude, he got the worst of it, I think. Him and the guy that played Jar Jar got the worst of it.
Yeah. And that's a fucking shame for Jar Jar, man.
I know.
It's not even his fault, dude.
Right? And it was not...
Well, it's not the actor's fault.
Let's be honest. George Lucas, not the greatest director.
No, he's not a great storyteller. Amazing producer.
Right.
Shit writer.
The reason that 4 through 6 works so well is because Harrison Ford said, people don't fucking talk like this, George. We're going to talk like normal people. And that's what they did, and that's why it fucking works. When people say, I love you, I know. When people say, all those different lines from the original trilogy, they say them with honor and like, yeah, man, I want to be Han. When you quote the prequel trilogy and they say they were animals and I slaughtered them, like you can't say it in an honorific way.
You can't say it without joking.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah, right.
But I will say the expanded universe that Disney started to grow with Rebels and Clone Wars, that has redeemed those characters.
Yes.
And I think that's so cool because the characters are solid characters. They're great. And
I like Ahsoka a lot.
Oh my God. She's awesome.
Yeah.
I've just been getting caught up on some of her sidelines and storylines to prep for the new show. I'm in love with her.
I need to finish Clone Wars, man.
Clone Wars is brutal.
Really need to get
Rebels is fun. I'm having a lot of fun with Rebels.
So that's the one I'm actually going to dive into next.
It's like the first 5 episodes are kiddie.
Yeah, that's why I stopped.
And it's tough, but if you stick with it, a story unfolds, and it's kind of cool because they tie in a bunch. Like from that one, the Jedi Fallen Order video game, they tie in Inquisitors. They tie in Inquisitors from Mando. Like everything kind of like that we know that's going on in these expanded shows, it all started with Rebels. So this is kind of like the nexus for all these characters we're now seeing live action. And I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Until I started watching. I was like, is that the same Inquisitor? Oh, fuck.
Okay.
And then I was like getting into it more, and it was like, hold up. Is that a callback to fucking Star Tours? Oh my God. Like, so they have, and it's all real. It's not like in your face, like, look at me. It's very
That's what pisses
subtle.
me off the most is the obvious callback. It's like, okay, we fucking get it.
Yeah, like the Ghostbusters with Kristen Wiig, where everything was like, remember Ghostbusters was the movie you liked?
Not this one you're watching right now. God, I am the fucking giant feminist, okay? And I need to say this because every movie I watch, I look for a Bechdel test.
Yeah.
If I don't see it, I will call it out. Anytime 2 women are in a room and they can't pass the fucking test, I'm like, what the fuck? You had a chance. You had a chance to have a 10-second goddamn conversation.
One shot.
Yeah. So the Ghostbusters movie has nothing. My hatred for the Ghostbusters remake has nothing to do with a female cast. It has to do with the female cast that was chosen and the shit fucking writing.
And I think what's really unfortunate about that is Paul Feig directed that.
Dude.
And I really like Paul. Freaks and Geeks, like Bridesmaids was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Less Kristen Wiig. Like,
Less Kristen Wiig.
I'm not a big Kristen Wiig fan. I was at one point in time.
I was too.
I was like, wow, she's really zany. And then it's like, oh, that's all she does.
That's all she does. That's what it did for me too. Right.
And I had to watch the Ghostbusters remake in 3 sittings. I was like, okay, I need a break. And then I'd come back the next day. Okay, we're going to try this again. Let's start from where we ended. I kind of remember it, and let's keep going. Okay. And that's enough for me. It was like,
I watched it high.
Good for you.
Now,
that's like the only tolerable way.
I've been high maybe 15 or 20 times in my life.
Yeah, it's not been many times.
So one of those times was watching the Ghostbusters remake. I
understand why you don't like it anymore. Being high, not the Ghostbusters.
Yeah. That's good. So I'm sitting next to my friend. I don't want to call him out in case he doesn't want.
No.
But he's high with me. The first time he's ever smoked.
Oh boy.
And he kind of came to, like, he was awake.
Yeah.
But he came to in the middle. He's like, is this fucking movie still on? And I lost my shit. Meanwhile, like, I'm surrounded by friends. We're in like a cabin house.
Right.
And most of the people, you know, not me and my other friend
Yeah,
who are
yeah.
high, they're like watching it. I am laughing my ass off at this movie because everything about it is so subpar.
Oh, it's just
I watched it like I watch a Neil Breen film where it's like, how did they think this was an acceptable thing to do?
This got greenlit.
And like funded.
Yeah. And marketed.
That's a multi-million-dollar film and marketing campaign.
And I have to say, I'm really glad that they brought Jaysin Reitman back to do the new one, Afterlife.
Oh my God, I liked it.
I was like in tears at the
Were you
end
really?
when Harold Ramey's death hit me really hard because he's such a iconic figure of part of my humor. Because I love Harold Ramey's.
I understand
like,
that, yeah.
You got Caddyshack, you've got Animal House, Stripes. Like, not only him as an actor, but him as a director. He had such a unique personality and a unique, like Egon. I love Egon's sense of humor.
Oh, I did too.
Even when it's not funny.
Yeah, right.
One of my favorite quotes from Ghostbusters is when Egon says, "Print is dead." And that... he meant it.
Right.
And they said that's the joke. And I'm like, that's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Because it's not. And
Yeah,
it
right,
never
right.
will be. But
Exactly.
He was just so self-affirmed in that. And then it was like, so I always like everybody liked Venkman.
Well, I mean, he's the obvious ghost. He's the Garfield.
Yeah. And he is Garfield.
Ironically enough. I was not going that route. Yeah.
But it's like, and Dan Aykroyd was pretty funny, but I liked Egon the most because he thought. And he had his moments. He popped up.
Agreed.
And then like little things, don't
And
cross
then
the
went
street.
away.
And then and that's how I like to live my life. It's like I peek my way out. I get on the radar for a minute when I do good, and then let me go right back under.
But
go
like,
unseen to live my life.
He never felt in the movie like it was that one-trick pony.
No,
he felt like it was part of the glue, but it was just glue that wasn't consistent, and that's why it worked. And I think that's why the fucking Fig remake didn't work because everyone was trying to be the funny one.
Yes, they were all SNL people.
Yeah,
Kristen Wiig,
and
the other ones.
The irony is that none of them were.
No. They are funny in other areas. Like I think some of them are very funny outside of the Ghostbusters movie.
Concurred.
They're like the blonde one. She was on, and I can't think of her name.
Yes,
Kate McKinnon.
I like her.
Fucking hilarious.
She can be. Yeah.
Not in that.
Yep.
I don't really get Leslie Jones's humor.
I don't either.
She just kind of screams.
Yeah.
And I didn't really. And that's
it's like PewDiePie.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get it.
And same with Kristen Wiig. It's like, oh, I'm the Zinga.
I'm quirky.
Don't cross the street. And it's like, and she was like to be the Venkman. And it's like,
which felt really off. And then I don't like Melissa McCarthy at all.
Yeah. It was like they said, do you like Bridesmaids? How about if they fought ghosts? Because Paul Feig directed that, and that's like 3/4 of the cast of Bridesmaids.
But I liked Bridesmaids.
Oh, I did too. Bridesmaids was fucking
much.
Hilarious. But I think the biggest thing is none of Ghostbusters would have happened without Egon.
Yeah, right.
He built the packs.
Right.
He was the one that was analyzing shit. Ray just ran the bookstore. Ray's a cult.
Yeah,
I fucking love Ray's. I want that to be real so bad.
Well, I'm shocked it's not.
Right?
That Dan Aykroyd's fucking weirdo.
Oh, dude, he is big into the paranormal. He said that the Men in Black visited him. Like, dude, I'm fascinated with Dan Aykroyd. But now that he's older, all I can see is the judge from Nothing But Trouble.
I know what the dick knows. Dude, if he said Men in Black came to visit him, that was just early Netflix delivering Men in Black on DVD. Like, there's sequels too, man. They'll be back.
Mr. Aykroyd, the Postman.
Oh, Jesus. I like the Postman.
Is that the Kevin?
Yes, it's Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
I fucking love these like strolling epic post-apocalyptic films.
Yeah.
Like
I haven't seen that one
I like
in ages.
calm version Mad Max. That's what I like. Post-apocalyptic Mad Max.
How did you feel about the one that Nick Cave did?
Nick Cave, the
singer.
The singer?
Yeah.
What movie was he in?
He did one, and I don't know off the top of my head. I'll have to IMDb
This is
it.
why we have Google.
I love being curious, but sometimes in the moment.
Nick Cave.
Nick Cave is a phenomenal creative person.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've heard his music.
He did. Is it The Proposition?
Proposition. That doesn't ring.
I'll show you the cover.
This is good podcasting.
I'll show you the cover, and you'll be like, "Oh, I know that cover."
Do I have to say it in that tone?
No. When the fuck did this movie come out? Where is it? I know what it looks like. I was working at the video store.
Are you thinking of the new TV show Last of Us?
No, that show though.
That's Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. Love it.
So like I love The Postman because I like the wild open story where it's like, basically it's Skyrim in post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's what's the post-apocalyptic game that everyone loves? Fallout.
I
don't like Fallout, but like I get the draw to it dramatically.
I've never been able to get into it.
Like I'll get maybe 10 hours in and then something big will come and kill me and I will never play the game again. I am the person, the moment I can't beat something, I don't have that thing in me that makes me go, I love challenges.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Is this post-apocalypse? Oh, wait. Is that Nick Cave?
No, that's the guy from Memento.
Guy Pearce.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nick Cave is an actor in it, and he scored the movie as well.
Oh.
And I think it might just be like an Australian Western, but it is very...
So it's really funny because I worked at Hollywood Video the same time you did.
Yep.
And I remember when this came out, and I think this was during my phase of both like, I'm better than movies here, and I want those weird fucking hard to find movies. So it was like this weird dichotomy, but the things in the middle, I had no fucking interest in. Holy Mountain? Yeah, I'm all about that.
Oh, dude, yeah.
The Conversation? No.
Yeah.
No. You mean people like that movie? I have no interest in it.
I remember one time I recommend. I knew you know the cover.
Yeah.
One time I recommended Timestamp to somebody.
Timestamp? What's Timestamp?
Timestamp is a movie. I saw it in high school. I don't
Not
remember.
Time Code.
Maybe it is Time Code.
Time Code is with Bruce Campbell, and it has the 4 different stories happening at the exact same time. That's Time Code.
Time Code.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, I remember recommending that to people, and they're like, "Oh, you have that here?" And I was like, "No."
They were so hit or miss with their selections.
I was like, "That's a little too avant-garde for Hollywood Video."
I love that movie.
It was such a cool idea.
It was a cool idea, kind of like $20.
Yeah,
I really like $20 for the idea of it. The execution, not so much.
And that's the thing. You go, wow, it's four continuous stories at the same time that all converge.
Yeah.
And you see everybody's perspective.
Yeah.
And then you're watching going, I'm fucking exhausted.
I have no idea what's going on and I'm very tired. Yes. It was very much an experience movie. Kind of like speaking of like boutique Blu-ray before the show we were talking about boutique Blu-ray. Irreversible is...
I was just talking about this the other day with somebody.
It's being released.
Why?
But
and not because it's not good.
No, it's an amazing film.
That movie's hard to watch.
So that's what I was thinking is I forget who's releasing it. I'm not sure if it's Arrow or it's one of the sub-partners of Vinegar Syndrome.
Okay.
But I saw it on a list of coming out and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I could never watch that again.
We watched it in a film class because
what fucking film class were you in?
Okay, so in college, I had a really dope film teacher, and we would do film theory 3 days a week, and 2 days a week, he would be like, all right, now I'm going to show you fucking cool movies. And so
that's such a good class.
I wrote my final thesis for film theory. I wrote it about B movie scream queens. I wrote about Linnea Quigley,
Yeah.
Michelle Bauer, Brink Stevens.
You don't have to explain
why they were the final girls.
100%.
I got to see.
Get the fuck out.
I got to see it. But he was like, I liked what you had here, but you need a little more substance because these aren't really powerful movies, you know. Like,
It doesn't matter if it's powerful movies.
And
Can you connect the dots?
that was kind of my argument. He's like, yeah, I gave you a C. I'm like, C+? He was like, all right, C+. And I didn't really care. He was a cool dude. He would come into my movie store all the time. I didn't really care. But I remember he was the one that recommended watching Kiss Kiss Bang Bang to me.
Oh, yeah.
And I was
Shane
like,
Black.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you recommend it? I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But I remember he was like, so this movie's going to be hard for some people, but I want you to see how clean the edit is on this fire hydrant scene.
Yes, okay. That's what I wanted to bring up. You know, okay, for those of you who out there who have not seen Irreversible, it is a graphic film.
Oh, God.
There is one scene of extreme violence and one scene that is way too long of a rape scene.
Oh, it wasn't an uncut shot, too?
It is one take. It's like 15 or 20 minutes. If it's not that long, it 100% feels that long.
Absolutely.
And I remember when I got to that point in the movie, I'm like, I think I'm ready for whatever you're going to give me. And then it happened. I was like, I was not ready because it was the gaze factor.
Mm-hmm.
It was like you could not look away. And if you did, like, well, you're not watching the movie.
Right.
You know, be in the fucking moment with the film.
Right. You're missing the impact.
You're missing the impact. Right. So I sat and watched the whole thing, and it was so hard, man. I Spit on Your Grave, not a great movie.
No.
Terrible rape scenes in it. Like, still impactful to me, but at least they cut away.
Mm-hmm.
And like literally your brain says, oh, this is fiction.
Right.
So with Irreversible, having the no edits, it's very like, I am forced to sit here for entertainment value, and I can't do anything about it. Like, you can pause it and stop it, but literally like that's like,
you can't unknow that this is happening.
Correct.
And that's why it was hard for me when people are like, Monica Bellucci is this beautiful. She's so sexy. I'm like, dude, you haven't seen this movie.
Haven't seen it. Correct.
I can never look at her the same.
No, and that's a powerful actress.
Oh,
because
she's an amazing actress, yeah.
So, but the fire hydrant scene, I was blown away. Like, this is in my gore phase when I was into gore.
Oh, yeah.
I saw there's treats happening upstairs, so the cats are running up.
I love it.
But those edits, they're so beyond perfect. I can't see them.
I can't either, and that's why it's flawless. And the actor who, Vincent Castle, I think his name was, that wielded the fire hydrant.
Yeah,
his accuracy on where he was hitting,
because it has to be absolutely perfect.
He nailed it every single time. Yeah. But it's an impressive, like, if you just want to watch that scene without the context, well, you know the context now, but I mean, it's impressive editing work. It's some of the best editing.
It's masterful.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, there's nothing else to say about it. Like, those are the two scenes I remember the most. And the fire hydrant scene is the one I walked away going, oh shit, that's impressive. It's like the first time you watch like a movie similar to Rope.
Yeah.
Like Alfred Hitchcock's Rope, where like you watch Rope now, you're like, okay, that's an obvious cut.
Right.
It's fucking right there. But like, if you've never seen a movie like that in the 60s, it's kind of impressive.
It kind of goes back and reminds me of a quote that I remember, I think it was Steven Spielberg said when he was filming Jurassic Park. And there was a scene where the car stopped and they were looking over like a feeding area or something.
Okay.
And then you cut away and some action happens. And when you cut back, that feeding area is gone and now it's a big cliff that they're going to hang off of. And they're like, well, isn't this going to cause continuity problems? And Spielberg says, if I don't have them invested in the story by this point, then yeah. But if they're invested, they're not going to care.
Yeah, I've never noticed it, and that's what a good storyteller can do.
And Jurassic Park 1 is a fucking masterpiece.
Oh, concurred.
I mean,
concurred. Nothing past that.
No. Jurassic World is dog shit.
Every movie.
Yeah.
Past that is shit. And I did not watch the last two. Wait, how many are the new generation?
I think I watched. I think there's 3 in the Chris Pratt ones.
Okay, I watched the first one and I said, "Fuck this."
I should have done that. I watched the second one. And I went, okay.
Yeah.
And then I like started the third one. And I went, woof. And I just I turned it off after like
deleted.
maybe like 30 minutes. I think I turned it off.
That's a long time to get into a movie, man.
Dude.
That's like into Act 2.
It was rough.
Yeah.
Like like they were like, we're all in on these dinosaurs, right? Right? Chris Pratt likes dinosaurs too, right?
It's selling toys, right?
You like Chris Pratt, right?
Oh my god, dude, I fucking hate it. I love Chris Pratt
Yeah.
in certain roles.
Andy Dwyer.
Andy Dwyer is my more so than
Yes.
Marvel.
I agree. Because that's when he's. I heard someone say once that Chris Pratt is just cosplaying as Jack Black, and we never noticed. They're like, he's just a guy cosplaying Jack Black until he got famous. And I thought that was so poignant because he got Guardians.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm like, Andy Dwyer's going to be in Guardians?
Everyone said that exact same
And
thing.
then-
It was Andy Dwyer.
Yeah. And then it was like, there's going to be a talking raccoon that's Bradley Cooper. And then you watch
That
it and you're
felt
like,
off.
and you're like, oh.
Oh yeah.
But that wasn't them. That was James
that's James
Gunn.
Gunn.
That was James Gunn.
Correct. He could have cast anyone and done a great job. I'm not saying a perfect job.
No.
But James Gunn is a visionary.
Oh, yeah.
Like, to me, he's up there with like Edgar Wright.
Oh, agreed. Oh my God, dude, Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
I really wish we got to see his Ant-Man final
Oh,
product.
I am
like,
so pissed that didn't come to be.
can I tell you how? And you know this because we were kind of aligned with this for a long time. I know it's been like 10 years plus now, but Scott Pilgrim versus the World is one of those films that if I want to feel creative,
Yeah.
if
true.
I want to feel just fucking like ecstatically happy,
Yes.
I put Scott Pilgrim on.
Agreed.
And Edgar Wright, like if you don't know Edgar Wright and you okay, that's a fun movie. I had a lot of fun. I get it. But if you know Edgar Wright, you're looking at everything.
Every fucking detail.
Just
Yes.
He's one of those directors, even like with Baby Driver. But like,
That movie's jaw-dropping.
dude, I can't believe this guy's not putting out more work.
I'm glad he's not.
Well, because he's picky choosy. That's a good point.
right.
But I remember watching Scott Pilgrim because you were like, dude, you got to go see Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. I mean, the comic was out of this world.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it and then opening shot. And then you see the chords are bouncing and beat with the
Yup.
song and there's that long pan out. And then you're
when
like,
the room stretches
Yes,
out, I
yes.
lost my mind because I'm like, that's how I feel.
yes. And he gets it. And like
Yup.
the fact that he he made it feel like a comic book
Yes.
without being a comic book.
Without doing the comic book motif bullshit.
Yes. He didn't do Ang Lee's Hulk.
Yes. I hate when people say, so one of my things of my grad thesis
Yeah.
was, my grad thesis was on the correlation of inspiration between comic books and film
Oh, dope.
from 1940 to present day.
Oh, wow. You went back to like Golden Age.
Yes, because that's when comic books really fucking started becoming
That's
a
true.
mainstay, not comic. That's when like the horror stories started coming out and more
Yeah, the
adult
EC
stories.
stuff,
The
yeah.
EC stuff, right. So I was doing this constant inspiration and I was like explaining like the gutters in between panels were the equivalent of editing. And I was
Yeah.
trying to like explore like, this shot was not in movies until the 50s where you saw it all the time in comics, blah, blah. So
Oh, that's a good point.
the thing, every time I tried to explain this thesis to a professor or anyone else, they're like, oh, you mean like Batman? Oh, you mean like a superhero? I'm like, no, I'm not even going to touch on those movies.
Right.
Because the point of this is the inspiration between cinema and sequential art, not comic book movie.
Right.
Not, and then to me, a comic book movie is not just a movie based on a comic, but it takes the role of the sequential art style.
Right.
What's the Tom Hanks film where it's in the 1920s? Road to Perdition.
Great comic.
Great comic.
Wonderful comic.
So when I saw the film, I was like, this is mimicking the comic flow, the comic personality. I'm going to tell this scene, and then I'm going to page flip because that scene is done.
Right.
You know, like, granted, that's what fucking film is, but how that film moves, move like a comic book. So I call that a comic book movie. I don't call Dark Knight, I don't call Batman Begins a comic book movie.
No.
It's a movie based on a comic.
Right. It's inspired by
a comic, but it doesn't feel like a comic book.
No.
Scott Pilgrim is the quintessential, perfect example of how I felt sitting on my floor in the corner of my room on a rainy day, plowing through comics, pretending I was in a different world.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. And it's little things.
Yes.
And like we said, it's the shaking of the wires. It's the scene when not Cho Chang, Knives shows up at the door and he jumps out the window.
Yeah.
And it's super quick.
Yeah.
And flawless. Like, because that's like in my head and thinking back to the panel, it's like you just see half of Scott's body
and
out the window
lines of
and the motion lines.
And you can't move that fast in real life,
Right.
so it has to be that otherworldly.
And so much of that was done in one take.
Right.
Like it was all a continuous shot. They didn't use special effects,
And that's
or
why I
anything.
loved it. Yep.
I agree. And then when they baked in the more unrealistic features,
right.
But then even then, when the coins came out and they were toonies,
Mm-hmm,
and it's like, oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
like,
I liked it.
I don't know. It just, and I wish that there would have been more success for some of those actors. Like I know Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah, she went on to do a lot of stuff.
She was in the Thing prequel, and she was a Huntress in Birds of Prey, which we won't even talk about that.
I will talk about that movie. I loved Birds of Prey.
It was better than most DC comics out
Yes.
or DC movies out there. I thought so. A couple of things about Birds of Prey. I know Ewan McGregor is not a nerd in real life, and that just hurts my heart.
Right?
Because it's like you're fucking Obi-Wan, you're Black Mask. You know, I think Margot Robbie is an amazing Harley Quinn.
I don't think no one has done it better than her. Kaylee Kuko is a hardcore second. But
for the cartoon,
that's only animation.
Yeah, just her voice.
Margot embodies the character better than I could ever imagine. Now, granted, you read DC more than I do, so please, I would love your opinion.
No, and I agree. And I mean, it's funny. It's like, did life imitate art or vice versa now? Because now they are writing and drawing. Certain artists are drawing Harley to be more Margot-esque.
Really?
And I don't dislike it because now I've got that visual. It's kind of like, to jump to Marvel really quick, it's kind of like when Sam Jackson got cast as Nick Fury.
And then Nick Fury starts showing up as a black man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought that was awesome because we need more multicultural representation within comics. And it's like, and nobody fucking cares about David Hasselhoff, which is kind of who Nick Fury was originally based off of.
Oh, was he really?
I think so. Well, Hasselhoff played him in the
movie. I know he played him in the movie, but I didn't know.
Again, did life imitate art at that point?
Wasn't Nick Fury?
Fury was been around for a while.
He's been around for a minute, man.
Yeah, he was around
for like World War II era, so I don't think
because didn't he spawn like out of the Sergeant Rock gang?
Yes.
Wasn't he like part of that crew?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think you're right. But no,
I thought so.
Harlequin now, they kind of, so she's everywhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's...
And I'm fine with that. I hated it when people would over cosplay it.
Yep.
And it was kind of like, we get it, another, okay, your daddy's little monster, great. But once you like get into the character, and that's why I like the Kaylee Cuoco, the cartoon, the deep sadness and the unstableness that she has. And it's like, that's why you keep going back with Joker. And now you're trying to redeem yourself.
I love what they're doing.
And you want to be Batman.
Yeah.
And even in like the mainline books, Harley Quinn is good now. She's trying to be Batman's sidekick.
That's interesting.
Because she, in the main stories, she got with Poison Ivy.
Yeah,
like they're a couple.
Right.
And Poison Ivy got split into two different versions of herself. There was like the all Poison Ivy, And then there was Ivy, which is like the more humanized version.
Cool.
And she burrowed under Poison Ivy, like the evil one, burrowed underneath Gotham and was running all of these poison vines up and pretty much gassing out the city.
Okay.
And Harley Quinn's love, in
Yeah.
typical,
Yeah.
but that brought her back together. And so now Poison Ivy is one whole person again, but she's like manic. And Harley is manic.
I was going to say that's a weird duo because that's the same thing.
Yeah, but it's in different ways.
Okay.
But it's fun. It's fun to read that. It's fun when Harley comes in. They've changed Batman a lot. They brought in more of these types of characters to be more common.
Okay.
Batman Incorporated's in a lot more now. And this is way off tangent, but
we'll get back on the tangent with Star Wars here in a minute.
wasn't Harlequin in one of them Star Wars movies, Episode 9?
That's right.
Wasn't she Snoke? No.
Who is Snoke? Is it Harley Quinn? That is an answer no one had on Reddit.
Dude.
That bingo card got fucked.
And truth be told, I don't know how you felt. I was so happy 789 concluded, so I never had to fucking hear people go, have you ever heard about Darth Plagueis the Wise?
I am okay, so you and I are kind of in the same boat when we're off the hype train for almost everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So when the last Celebration came through and they announced all this cool new Star Wars shit, I had friends writing me. They're like, "Oh, did you see this?" I was like, I didn't even know it was happening.
I didn't either.
So when I looked through the list of shit, because then my nerd genes,
you have to.
And I got
curiosity,
look,
yeah.
And then it's like there's a new Daisy Ridley. I was like, fuck, nope, not interested.
I just kind of let out one of those like, ugh.
Yeah,
like it was just like, stop trying to get blood from a turnip. Take the dog shit poo that was there, and leave it.
It's already white. Let's get rid of that white dog shit.
I understand that Disney wanted to find a way to have their own Skywalker saga. But
why?
They resurrected all these characters from the originals just to kill them. And it bothers me.
The irony is that the greatest fucking Star Wars story we're getting is on TV.
Yeah.
And hello, stop making fucking movies.
Stop. I don't want movies anymore.
I don't want a 2-hour story. I'm fucking done. It's boring to me. It's too short.
I don't want 3-hour stories.
No,
you
that's
can make them longer. I don't want. That's my whole day.
Correct. I want the show. Let me live in the character. I don't care if it's a big budget or not. Give me character. Give me time. The Boba Fett show, when he was with the Tusken Raiders,
the first 3 episodes,
fucking, I was all in.
Yeah,
I was 100% in. This is amazing. And then everything took a shit
until Mando came back.
Well, yeah. Well,
and then you're like, ooh, he's back.
Yes, it was like this redeeming factor of like, yay, now you're gone, cool, and now you're riding a rank. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I don't fucking care.
And they had the Power Ranger speeder bike gang.
Dude, that was so weird.
They just tried.
I love that we're talking about hot topic subjects 2 years after the fucking show's done.
But part of that, a lot of the stuff came out during COVID,
right? Which is a weird time period anyway.
It's like a black hole of years where we stayed connected, but we weren't in person.
Right.
And so it's like as we talk more and we're doing this more, it's like, fuck, I feel like I haven't talked to you in ages, but we did talk about all of it.
Yes.
But it's like it was like on the phone, it was like, yes, exactly. Perfect. I'm with you. And now it's like, now I see your reaction and we still feel the same. And yes, it just makes more sense.
Right. Right.
I don't know. I love what they're doing with some of these shows and things like that.
Whether it's good or not, I am super on board with it.
I just don't want movies. And
I don't either.
Even with Marvel, like,
I don't give a shit.
This new wave, I'm really not. And okay,
what phase are we in right now?
I don't fucking know,
dude. Like, I was trying to figure it out when we
14. I can't tell.
We watched the new Ant-Man movie.
Let's talk about this.
Quantum physics, quantumology,
Quantumania.
Jesus Christ, I legitimately could not remember it. What a festering fucking turd of storytelling.
Dude, it was rough.
It was not as bad as Doctor Strange 2, which I think you liked, didn't you?
I didn't mind it.
You didn't mind it. Oh, okay.
I wouldn't go back and like be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put in Doctor Strange 2. Who wants to come over and hang out? Like that would that's like a
lonely
deterrent.
day.
Yeah, you know. It's just me and myself.
It's like I ordered extra bologna. Who's coming over?
Yeah. I might fry it. I might fry it.
No, I'm good, man.
But it started out where I was like, okay, it's okay. And then they got to the quantum realm, and I was like, and then they were like, oh, Broccoli Man. I was like, oh, okay. And then here comes MODOK.
Dude,
for no reason.
Legit, like I was going downhill the whole time, right? And then MODOK showed up, and it was a screeching halt. Like I was on my BMX as an 8-year-old going down a hill, and I'm like, this is not as fun as I thought it was going to be. And then I hit the tree root.
Yeah.
And that was it. I'm done.
And he said, I should have worn a helmet.
Do you ever like spill off your bike or like fall out of a tree like when you were a kid?
Oh, God.
And like either you start crying or the opposite happens where you just stand up completely silent and go, I'm going home.
Yeah, because it hurts that bad.
I'm done. I will go cry in my room.
Yep.
But I'm just done. When MODOK showed up, I was the 8-year-old kid who fell out of the tree. Just fucking done with the day.
It was just bad.
Man.
And like
at least give us Patton Oswalt.
Oh, dude. Oh, all day I would have taken Patton Oswalt. Like you
saw the show, right?
Oh God, it was amazing.
Okay.
I loved it.
It was not as good as I wanted it to be, but it was far fucking better than what we got.
Yeah. And the fact that they like tried to tie it back to the guy from the first one who I didn't give a shit about in the first one even.
Why should I care about him?
Ant-Man movies, I like Paul Rudd.
Yes.
And I'm always like, oh, a new Ant-Man. I hope I like Paul Rudd still. I don't like
I don't anymore.
It bothers me. Okay. Really quickly, Ant-Man 1, it bothers me how fucking abruptly it starts. You're like, okay, I'm going to watch Ant-Man 1, and then it goes, done! And it starts on a downbeat, and the image just pops on the screen. And I'm like, I don't like this.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's bad.
Okay.
Like, it's kind of like, the movie's on. And you're like, I'm here. Take it easy.
We're in this together.
Yeah, we're on the same page. We want to be here. I don't like Evangeline Lilly.
I don't either. I don't like what's his face? The fucking great actor in it. Both of them? Michelle Pfeiffer and then
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Michael Douglas is an amazing actor. A jaw-droppingly good actor.
Oh yeah.
He's so boring.
It's like, we get it, dude. You're old.
Right?
We know your dad lived a long time.
Dude, either become Cameron Mitchell or give up, because Cameron Mitchell gave up and he was still Cameron Mitchell.
Right. Exactly. He just sat a lot more.
It's right, dude. Oh my God. Low Blow. I fucking love that movie so much because you can tell he's getting a check.
Yeah.
But he's drunk off his ass. Half the time he's not even awake. I think that's why. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but you've seen Low Blow, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, so like he had like a speaker for him, like Cameron Mitchell would just lean over and like mumble something in her ear, and then she had the bullhorn, and be like, "The great powerful Oz says blah blah blah," and I think, again, I have no basis for this.
Right?
He just looks so drunk. I bet he's leaning over and being like, "Can I order a cheeseburger and some fries?" And she's like, "Plot, plot, 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 plot." He's like, no. I would really like another drink. And the director's like, keep going. It's great.
The story's on you, megaphone lady.
That's right. And I was like, oh, God,
that was when he truly hit his Marlon Brando era.
Oh, yeah.
Like his Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yes.
Like, it's just so funny that,
So Star
I'm at
Wars,
a loss of words because I don't know where to go because that's such a wonderful random connection. You're right, Michael.
That is a roadblock motherfucking ending of the street.
But you're right though. Michael Douglas has been in some really great films.
Yeah.
I don't go back and watch them a lot.
Path to Infinity or Path of War or something like that. There's a 1950s, 1960s black and white war film that is so fucking good. I'm forgetting the name of it.
Are you thinking Paths of Glory?
Paths of Glory.
That was Kirk Douglas. That was his dad.
Eat a fucking dick.
He was in.
They do look the same.
He does. He was in Wall Street. He was Gordon Gekko in Wall Street. He's in
Oh my
Fatal
God,
Attraction.
That's right. Oh, I don't like Fatal Attraction.
They're making a TV show about it now.
Why not?
But see, now I kind of want to watch it because Lizzie Kaplan is in it, and I really like Lizzie Kaplan.
Lizzie Kaplan, name's familiar. What am I
Party
missing?
Down. She was the brunette curly hair.
I like her.
I like her a lot.
I like Party Down a lot.
I do too.
I'm so glad that that's coming back.
I know. There's another one, Falling Down. Falling Down.
I saw that in the theater.
Dude,
Saw it
that
driving.
I never understood falling down until I started working in corporate America.
Of course.
And then I'm like, one day I called my dad, or I was talking to my dad, and he said, "How's your day?" I said, "Remember that movie Falling Down?" And he's like,
Defense?
he goes, "Are you okay?"
Oh no! I was like,
No, I am not okay. I'm 25 and miserable.
I'm 25 and understanding falling down.
Yeah.
No, things are not going well.
I'm understanding. No matter what I do, I'm fucked.
Oh, Jesus Christ, 25.
Oh yeah, I was a young angry man in Chicago.
Yeah. So Star Wars.
Yeah, it's a
what
great movie.
Made you want to learn more about it? So we went down the path of what was your first medium or media?
Yep.
Your other question is, what made you want to learn more?
Oh, I'm trying to think. I like that.
Was it because of Kirk Douglas?
It's like, you know who would have been good as Han Solo? Al Pacino. Did he ever audition? No.
Oh, the Force is just a mystical bullshit, and I've never seen it. Oh,
Hooah, Minox.
I am not. Oh, that's really fucking good, man. Meanwhile, I was apologizing for my terrible, because I cannot do impressions of anything.
You
that
had
is
like
not
jazz
human.
fingers going. You're like, hooah, and you're like pointing to the side. You know? I'm Al Pacino, son of a woman.
Yeah, that's. I mean, like, fuck. Al Pacino's so hit or miss, but he is good in the TV show Hunters,
I
where
don't
he
think I've
plays
seen
an
that.
old Jewish man. Andy actually looked over at me. She goes, "I thought Al Pacino was Italian. Is he Jewish?" I was like, "No, I'm pretty sure he's not."
Yeah.
Pacino.
Yeah.
But oh my God, Hunters is a fucking awesome show. It's
All right,
on
I'll check that out.
Amazon Prime.
Okay.
It's a group of people in the 70s hunting down Nazis in hiding.
Oh, that
But
sounds
It's
interesting.
made the story, like the production,
Yeah.
is made in a grindhouse style of filmmaking.
Ooh, I like that.
But it's it's really, really good. Season 2, I can't finish because it's so boring. Like they dropped the whole grindhouse
That's-
feel.
Oh, see,
And I'm like,
that's
nope, you lost me because that's what connected with me.
and that's like kind of what made Inglourious Bastards so cool.
Yes.
it was like a grindhouse film.
Agreed.
I really had a lot of fun in that era of film when
I did
Tarantino and
too.
Rodriguez were doing those grindhouse.
They were just
films.
like, fuck it, let's just have some fun. Let's make the movies that we like.
Yeah, they're like, and we like, and that was one thing that's what made me like Tarantino when I was getting into film.
Yeah.
A lot, in college, a lot of people gravitate towards Fight Club, Reservoir Dogs,
Oh, yeah,
Pulp Fiction.
yeah.
Sure, they're great movies.
Yeah.
They make you think you're smart. I get
They
it.
make you think you're smart.
They do. That's like everybody had a Fight Club posters. I have a senior picture where I have Fight Club and 7
yes,
DVDs
you do.
in my picture.
And yes, I had a Fight Club poster.
Yeah, so and I'm not judging anybody.
Yeah,
for
right,
it.
right,
It's
right.
just that's just kind of now it's become like a college cliche. Oh, you think you're smart? You're a college
That
kid.
and
Okay.
Run Lola Run.
Oh God, yeah.
That was like the foreign film to have a poster of. or a
Franco
VHS.
Potente.
It's a great fucking movie, man.
She was a good-looking lady.
Oh yeah. I mean, okay. I'm not dissing Fight Club either.
No,
Fight
no,
Club
no,
is
no.
an amazing film.
Oh yeah, I mean that's where I think that's where I first saw Helena Bonham Carter, and I'm like, she's
You know
nuts.
what? I think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
And then it was just and Meatloaf. I mean, it's a fun movie to watch.
It's a great
I
movie.
can't really watch it a lot now,
No,
just
no,
because
no,
I'm
no.
over it.
I'm not that angsty kid anymore.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Now I'm,
But you-
now I'm an angsty 40-year-old adult
Yeah.
sitting in my basement bitching about Star Wars.
But to your question of like what got you interested to research more Star Wars?
Right.
I don't know if I have like an exact moment, but the best one that I could like pinpoint when I was like getting really into Star Wars, and my parents kind of saw like, holy shit, this kid only talks about fucking Star Wars.
Yeah, been there.
They bought me some books, and they weren't like EU books. My mom bought me one. It was, and I still have it. It's called The Handbook to Star Wars.
Oh,
And it's
yeah,
just-
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just a little thin
Yeah.
book. It's like a big rectangle.
Yes.
And I flipped through it, and it was like, this is a lightsaber.
Right.
This is the Millennium Falcon. This is a Salacious Crumb. And I was like, I'm sorry, a Salacious Crumb? You mean his name isn't Salacious Crumb?
I actually didn't know that. I thought he was a Jabberwockian rat lizard rat.
Okay,
rat lizard.
And maybe the lore has changed,
Okay,
but I remember in that book, they called him a Salacious Crumb. And I thought that was the race or species of those rat monkey lizard things.
Okay.
And I think you're absolutely right.
A Kowakian monkey lizard. Salacious B. Crumb.
Oh, he's got a middle initial.
He's got a middle initial.
Is that like David S. Pumpkins?
Yeah, dude, I don't fucking get why people like that.
Because it's stupid.
I don't get it.
It's just so stupid.
Everyone sent me clips of that, and I was like, it's cool.
It's just...
That's like people who like watch a movie like 40-Year-Old Virgin, and they're like,
Yeah.
It's so funny when he rips his hair off his chest.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, dude, the point of good comedy is not to point out the one fucking joke. It's to live in the story with the character.
That's how young people do things now, dude.
I know that.
That's how the youths do. Like, if you watch meme compilation videos, some of the memes are it's the joke from Family Guy. Like, they'll do like a clip of Family Guy, and they're like, Peter's angry. I'm like, that's the joke.
Yeah.
That's the fucking joke.
Yeah.
But
this is why I can't do TikTok, and I don't understand why you were like fucking fascinated with it.
Because I don't follow that shit.
Oh, well.
I mean, I follow stupid shit, don't get me wrong.
Well, okay. I feel like I always have to backtrack this shit. So the shit you send me, that VHS guy is really fucking dope.
I love him. He's awesome. He's an actor. He does sketch comedy.
Is he?
Yeah, he partners
sense.
with Pete Holmes a lot.
Oh, I like Pete Holmes.
Yeah. Oh, I hated him when I was younger.
I will say he's hit or miss. Yeah.
He's better now. Now that I'm an adult, his dry humor, it's like,
yeah,
I like that.
I like the Street Fighter.
Those were great.
The interviews, those make me happy.
Those were awesome.
But so you got a book that explained the ins and outs of Star Wars, and then you found Salacious Crumb.
I found Salacious Crumb.
Salacious Crumb.
A Salacious Crumb. And I looked through it a little bit more, and there were little things in that book that they called out. Han's Heavy Blaster. But one thing that I always loved, the first ship that you see in A New Hope.
Okay, right. The Corellian cruiser.
Thank you. Now, I always knew it as a Corellian Corvette.
Oh, no, correct. That's what I knew it as too. Yes.
That's what and they said that the background was, well, George Lucas likes Corvettes and he's a big car guy, and that's why he named it as such. But I loved the look of the thrusters, and I loved just the look of the ship, but I could never find information on it. So when I flipped through the book and I got to the ship section and there's a Corellian Corvette, I was like, oh, it has a name.
Yeah.
And the name is, and it tells me a little bit of information about it. Okay, this is really cool. Are there more books like this?
Oh,
and that's
interesting.
I got into those the blueprint encyclopedias for a while.
I remember those.
And like I really got into the designs of Imperial ships.
Yeah.
The Rebel ships, I felt like, now, in my age now, B-Wings are fucking dope. I think B-Wings are some of the coolest fucking ships in the Star Wars universe.
I am so glad we're both married, because this would be an instant advertising business card for never having sex again.
Either that or, ladies, if you're listening, you want a guy who's never going to cheat on you?
Let me tell you all about my fascination with the first generation X-Wing.
Dude, because, like, seriously, like, if you look... Okay, let me just go down this rabbit hole really quick.
Let's go down the rabbit hole.
So if you watch Jedi, right?
Yeah.
And you find B-Wings. Now, I was always fascinated that you had ships based off of letters of the alphabet.
Yeah,
the
A-Wing, Y-Wing, B-Wing, X-Wing.
And
that's kind of where I stopped.
I always got confused. I'm like, is an A-Wing a snow speeder? Are they the same thing? They're kind of, but they're not.
Oh, I never put that correlation together.
But a B-Wing never made sense to me because it didn't look like a B.
It's got the dip, right?
It's got the, at the top.
Like the,
is the pod.
And then the long tail, right?
And then the long tail, and there's like a thruster in the middle.
Yes.
Okay. So kind
of. Oh
of.
my God, I'm so glad I got the right one.
Yeah. No, you did. But what's cool about that, and something I never learned, because you never see it in any of the movies until I watch some of these shows.
Right.
Was that shit can fucking rotate.
Oh, I remember that in the show.
So like the pod can be up at
Yes.
top, and then it can rotate to the left, and then it's on the right-hand side, and little wings pop out
And
of
then
it.
it's a fighter.
And it's a fighter.
Right.
Dude, that's fucking dope. Like, X-Wings is like, okay, I'm an X.
Right.
Now I'm a line. Now I'm an X.
Ladies, we are taking interviews.
And A-Wings, it's like, great.
You're an A.
You're an A.
And it doesn't,
it doesn't do anything.
You're not a Transformer.
But yeah. And the Millennium Falcon was cool because it was big and it was Han and all
There
that.
were none others.
Right. But the B-Wing, it's like, what an underappreciated fucking ship. The Y-Wings are cool too.
I love that, like, you're so obsessed with the B-Wing. Like,
It's the little thing.
the stepchild of the rebellion ships.
Dude, it's...
Which I get. I get.
It's like saying, like, you know what I really like? I like the transport ships.
The big old tampons. Oh, I love the sky tampons so much. Give me that big old space whale.
Here it comes.
Oh, there's a lot of people on that, I bet. Oh, yeah. They're away. They're away.
They're away. We've got to protect that ship.
Oh, my God.
All right,
Okay.
so what got you into researching it more? Same question.
I will tell you this. So all my friends who are into Star Wars
Yeah.
were super into the Jedis. You know, because
Okay.
it's like, oh, it's cool. They're New Age samurai and shit like that. And
Yeah.
that's not what they said. They said they were just badass.
Sure. Yeah.
Me, I was fucking fascinated with the fact that there were all these characters living their lives with different backgrounds and stories that we never learn about. That tore me up inside because I wanted to learn more, but at the same time, I loved the mystery.
Oh, I get that.
So, like, Jabba's palace is full of all these one-off characters.
Yeah.
And the cantina scene
I was just going to say, yep.
was full of all these one-off
The
characters.
Wolfman.
Yes.
and- yeah.
I was gonna say someone's name and I don't remember Panda Baba.
Panda Baba. Yep.
Like, you have all these like weird characters and all of them have fucking names.
Mhm.
And then, like, when you saw the toys, they had the names on them. You're
Yep.
like, "Wow, I didn't know this was a character."
And the doctor. Remember the doctor?
The weird guy, the one who
With
looked
the-
like
with the
yes,
nose.
yes,
Yeah.
He
Wasn't he partner with Panda Baba?
yes,
Yeah.
he was like, "My friend doesn't like you."
Yeah. I don't like you either.
I love the robot chicken. He's like, wait, what are you telling him? I didn't say that.
that was great.
What are you doing? Probably hands out that, and then the Luke, where he's like, Luke, no, I'm your father. And he's like, that's improbable.
Yeah.
I heard that at like 2:00 in the morning, and I woke the fuck up, falling out of my bed laughing.
That's amazing.
He's like, look, if you're not going to be level with me, I'm fucking out of here. And they got Mark Hamill to do it. I fucking love that.
I want to meet Mark Hamill. He just seems like such a cool
He
dude.
seems like a really fucking cool guy. And he was in
he-
the Guyver.
and
And
he-
I loved the Guyver.
Dude,
so-
oh my god, dude, the Guyver was
Yeah.
fucking.
The first one.
It's bad.
Oh,
but
yeah, it's awful.
good.
yeah.
It's like that. Like they're like
It's tokusatsu
Yeah.
for America.
exactly. They're like Power Rangers is kind of becoming a thing.
Uh-huh.
We got Mark Hamill on board. What the fuck else? I think that was about the time that he was doing his own comic book, the Black Pearl.
That would make sense why he would be into that.
Yeah.
Because I saw the anime first.
Oh.
And then I
dope.
saw the American one. I'm like, yay, they're making an American Guyver. And I watched it and I was like, this sucks compared to the
What are these
anime.
fucking monsters?
Yeah.
Is this Gremlins 2?
Oh, there's a lady gremlin. Sign me up, electricity gremlin. So I was fascinated with the lore, with
Sure.
like the background stories and
Yeah,
things
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So when it got to Jabba's palace, and everyone was like critically a different character. Like, they weren't like stormtroopers where they all kind of look the same.
Right.
Which stormtroopers always confused me as a kid because I was always like, are they robots? Are they actually like people that they just like hijacked from other planets to
Right.
like, be in it? Or do they actually believe in the cause? Like, I was very upset as a young child, like thinking about
Yeah.
the Empire a lot. Because as a kid, I was like, the Empire is kind of the good guys in this because they're the government. And, you know, I was raised in a
Well,
very Republican home
And that makes
where you
sense.
don't question the government.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I know. So it was Jabba's Palace, and then I found Tales of Jabba's Palace by
Yes.
Kevin J. Anderson.
Yes.
And that book floored me. I would read a chapter and then I'd watch the whole Jabba scene. And I'd read a chapter and I'd watch the whole Jabba scene. And I'd be like,
awesome.
okay, they're doing this. That guy is a conspirator against this. He's showing up at midnight to go kill this droid over here. Is actually a droid in hiding because he was actually part of IG-88 who fused into 4 different IG units and then fused into the Death Star and eventually exploded and died. And then blah.
Yeah.
Like the Rancor master, I forget his name.
Yeah.
He was my favorite story about Jabba's palace because literally like he loved the Rancor.
He did.
Loved him. So like when Jabba got this Rancor as a pet, he hated Jabba for like abusing him.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
he's like, I'm going to take you and we're going to run away together. Like it was like not a romance, but it was like I love
like you love your dog.
like you love your dog. So that night, that day when Luke shows up, he had been planning for years to break the Rancor out, and he had paid all these people to like do the explosives at the right time and everything else. And then that's why he's so crushed because like, yeah, his pet's dead, but it's like everything was going to happen
that
today.
Night.
And
I
it all
love
went to hell.
that.
It was so good, dude. So like that got me on a road. Like, what else don't I know?
Yeah, and then Tales from Mos Eisley Cantina
And the
came out.
Cantina was really good.
Those were the two. I agree. Those were the two best books.
Tales of the Bounty Hunter.
Tales of Bounty
Tales of the Bounty
Hunter
Hunter is my number 2.
That's where you learn about Bosk, IG-88,
and then how
Boba.
Dengar was
yes,
like the best man. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to remember which one was which. Boba Fett was the best man at Dengar's wedding. Han Solo fried Dengar. That's why he was wearing bandages in a biker in a
dude,
speeder
I can't
bike
believe
race.
You remember all this.
Dude,
This is
I can't
phenomenal.
remember fucking what I had for breakfast this morning, but I remember dumb shit like this from when I
No,
was 14.
I love it. Because I remember reading these books, but I do not remember these details. This is so awesome.
So Dengar's the one who pulls Boba Fett out of the Sarlacc pit
No shit.
in the book.
Okay.
And then they kind of like become best friends after that.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like a buddy bounty hunter movie.
Right. And then Bosk was always an asshole. I always kind of I wanted Bosk to be cool because I like the toy and I like the character.
The little lizard guy.
Yeah, he was
and his name is cool.
Fuck, what Bosk? Oh, I'm forgetting the name. Like Transdoshan.
Yeah, Transdoshan. He was the the spider-headed guy, right?
No, that's the lizard, Bosk. Bosk was a Transdoshan. That's his species race.
Oh, because wasn't there a bounty hunter that had a helmet, but he had like 4 eyes?
Oh, Forlom.
Thank you.
Forlom. Forlom is short for the love of money.
I love that.
And then I'm losing my nerd
you
cred
know
here.
Star Wars bounty hunters, like I can do IMDb for random B actors. This is fantastic. I love this.
The Forlom story, Forlom is the robot.
Okay.
And then who is the bug guy?
Yeah.
It's not Zizix. It's very close to that though. But yeah, Forlom is for the love of money because he's kind of a C-3PO unit with a different head.
Yes.
Anyway, this is great podcasting, great storytelling.
I know, I love it. This is for us, man. That's why I like it.
But yeah, so the bounty hunters were my jam from a
Yeah.
very, very young age.
And I get that. Like,
I loved him.
I never really gravitated towards Luke as a character.
Me either.
I thought he was really whiny. Like,
Well, even as a kid, I was like, I want to see the monsters.
well, and he was a pretty boy, you know?
And that's why I think I didn't like him.
Right, because it's like we weren't that.
Yup.
That's why.
The irony is that you were. I just saw pictures of you in high school, sir.
See, I didn't think I was.
You could have been the 6th Backstreet Boy. Were there 5? I don't know. I don't know.
Here comes Nerdy Spice. Hi. I'm introverted.
Hey,
I'll
everybody.
go back.
Yeah, I'm really tired.
My social battery's low right now. I'll see you tonight.
Every nerd in the audience is like, I get you. Thank you for representing us.
That wasn't a thing back. Like introversion, extroversion, that was not a thing when we were kids. It was either you are antisocial or you're regular.
You're a normal kid or you're a pussy.
Yeah.
And I fucking hated that.
And we used there's kids now like in my neighborhood where their parents are like, okay, it's not cold outside and the sun's out, go outside and don't come back in the house. And I remember like growing up, like that's kind of how it was for us.
Same.
Well, I mean, to a point. I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah, same.
So it's like I'd get home at 3:30 and I did whatever the fuck I wanted.
Because your parents weren't home or they were doing whatever.
And when I say I did whatever the fuck I wanted, like I was going out doing, I watched like Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes and
Animaniacs is on at 3:30.
Yep. Oh yeah, you have your routine. I remember I had the Star Wars cup I got, and I wish I still had it. When I saw Star Wars in theaters, A New Hope, they released. Regal Cinemas released, no, it was AMC, released limited edition cups that glowed in the dark.
Oh, I never saw those.
And they were 32 ounces, and I drank out of that fucking cup for legit 20 years. And I remember I'd go home and I put 2 Cokes, because it could hold 2 Cokes. I would drink 2 Cokes, and I would watch Are You Afraid of the Dark? I would watch Animaniacs. I had my whole lineup.
Yeah.
And then my mom would get home, and I would be fucking wired. And I'd be like, I'm just gonna, I gotta go. I gotta do things, man. I got all Coca-Cola in my system.
I got shit to do.
And my mom was like, yeah, you got homework. I'm like, run around the block.
It's like little kid Coke.
It really was like,
Yeah.
and I'm still like that when I get excited.
You do. Well, you get jazzed pretty easy on caffeine.
Oh yeah. I attribute that to the anxiety.
Oh, okay. Like caffeine does the opposite for me. It mellows me out.
But now didn't you recently get diagnosed with ADHD?
I got ADHD. I got a fucking slew of other shit. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into this on
No. That's...
on these after hours of the video store.
But that it makes sense because your body's reverse.
Yeah.
So caffeine. My brother has severe ADHD.
Okay.
And so he could drink a Monster and go to bed.
And that's what it is, dude. Like, I will pound a fucking energy drink, and it chills me the fuck out.
Yeah.
It just knocks me out.
Because your levels, like, when I get going,
Yeah.
when I drink a pop,
right.
like when I drink Dr. Pepper's Monster here,
Ooh.
I am on your level that you're normally on.
Right.
In regards to how fast you're thinking and talking. I'm up there now.
Yeah.
But if I don't do anything and you drinking a Monster, then you come down to chill on my level.
You're right.
So we're
right.
opposite, but we keep a balance.
So for years, I would drink the Monsters and whatever else. I was a Monster for a while, but there was something else. There was another like energy drink that I liked.
Was it like Bang or Ghost?
No,
or...
it was before that. Before those came out. But I used to drink them all the time for work. You know, when I would shoot something or I'd be filming. Because all my friends would drink them all the time. And I'm like, oh, this is going to keep me up. This is going to wire me. And I had no fucking idea that I was like, why am I so tired?
Yeah.
I drink like 2 of them a day. And I'm like, I'm so exhausted. Anyway,
that shit.
I'm glad we're bitching on this show. This is fun.
And that's like an old guy thing too. Like I was getting into a habit where I was drinking like more of those energy drinks, and I was having like physical problems.
I remember
because of it.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, maybe I don't do this anymore. These are not meant for human consumption.
They're not.
They're
dude.
really not. They're terrible. I can't believe.
And you always hear people say that too, but until this shit really hits you,
oh yeah.
Yeah,
I legit heard a story, and I don't remember where I saw it, but a girl's dad passed away. He was young. He was like late 40s, maybe early 50s. He was drinking a 4-pack of Red Bull a day, every day.
Well, no.
And when they went to embalm him, they said his blood was so thick, it couldn't move through his veins and sticky.
Ugh.
And that, I was like, I'm done.
That's like a horror movie plot.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm never touching this shit. Like, I don't mind drinking pop
you're right.
coffee, but yeah, that shit's. I can't believe they allow. I mean, I can. We live in America. It's fucked up. But.
Because it all comes down to who gets the mighty dollar.
No, absolutely.
But yeah,
it should all go to Star Wars. Tied it back in. I did it.
It already does, Andrew.
You're right. It does. But Star Wars. I have such fond memories about it, and I love talking to people who had a similar childhood and a similar fandom, because I know for me, I defended Star Wars, and it didn't need defending, but I felt the need to defend it because I was so passionate about it, and I knew I was right.
Right.
So anybody that differed, if they're like, well, I prefer Star Trek, I prefer DS9, I prefer what's the Sequest. I'm like, fuck you guys. Fuck you. Star Wars is the one and only sci-fi you don't need to watch Stargate. Fuck Stargate. No, watch Star Wars.
That's
it's the only thing.
That's all you need.
And then it bothered me too, because then like you go to get like gifts from your relatives or something, and they're like, yeah, I got you the Star Wars stuff, and then you look and it's all Star Trek, and you're like, you motherfucker, are you fucking with me? It's not the same, and you know it. You can remember the difference between Wars and Trek.
Andrew likes the Trek Wars.
And that's how they would talk.
Yeah, of course.
And I get it. Older people didn't. They'd probably be like, now if someone's like, oh, I got the crazy blue shoes, and I'm like, who the fuck is that?
Well, I mean, it's the exact same thing. Like if someone was into the Bears, okay?
Yeah.
'Cause we're in Chicago.
Yeah,
like,
we are.
The Bears is ubiquitous here.
Yep.
If anyone is listening to this show, hallelujah. But the Bears are like the football team of Chicago, and if I had a kid who was into the Bears, and I got him like a bear thing, they'd look at me the same way. They'd be like, "What the fuck is this?
Right.
This isn't Erdlacher Jr.'s jersey." I'm like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah. Who's Mike Worcestershire?
Oh yeah, I like his condiments.
I got that one cheap.
Yeah, right. But I mean, that's the equivalent of us being like, "Oh, you like the Bobby Fett?"
Yeah.
Stop.
And it's like, I appreciate you trying.
Yeah.
But listen to me.
Oh God, I still get gifts of like Grogu. It's like, "Oh, you like Star Wars?" I'm like, "Not that.
Not this Star Wars.
I like Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I like the Mandalorian armor shit.
Yeah.
Don't give me the fucking Yoda shit. I'm not a fan of that side of the story."
Right.
Anyway.
It's like you said, you give people credit for trying.
Right.
But at the same, and you put on the face, "Oh, thank you, Star
Thanks,
Wars.
Grandma.
I get it.
Yeah.
You saw Star Wars and you connected the dots.
Yeah.
You're thinking of me, and I appreciate that."
Yes, and that's what it boils down to.
But
it's thoughtfulness.
There were so many random Okay, so I had a thing with, I love toys, specifically Star Wars and all that.
All right, gonna ask you a question while you're doing this.
Yes.
Hopefully it goes down the same path.
Let's.
What is your most, like, maybe not the most, but like probably like kind of the most favorite toy / memorabilia you've had from Star Wars? So hopefully this is kind of going down
loved
that
it.
path.
I
wanted to
loved
ask
it.
this.
You merged it right in there.
Okay,
I
trying
love
to.
it.
I'm trying to shove shit in a hole.
Ooh, that's a tough question, dude.
I mean, go down your path
Yeah.
and then kind of like,
because I tried to collect the Red Saber
Yes,
figures.
you were adamant about that.
I almost had the full set.
Okay.
I only
How
had
many are there? Do you know?
Fuck, dude, I have no idea.
Is there a lot, or is it like 20?
No, there's like over 100. I thought.
Oh, I didn't know it was that big.
And there was a big. So I was getting into the Red Saber figures, and when I say Red Saber, there was
explain this.
There was so all the figures, they were Kenner at the time, or were they Hasbro? I think they might have been Hasbro. Anyways, long story short, they would come. They were 6-inch figures, and they would come in a little plastic container, and they
were 6. I thought they were 3.75.
They might have been 3.
6 or
no, they were 6.
6 are the big ones. 3.75 are the normal ones.
Okay, 3.75. Thank you.
Okay. I'm just making sure because
No,
I
yeah.
don't remember the 6 ones.
No, you're right. So they would come attached to a card backing, and there was artwork on that card, and the artwork was Darth Vader, and the lightsaber he held was the color red.
Right.
And then on the back, you would get like a profile of the character. Mm-hmm. So you'd get like a stats card and a picture, and then they'd usually have like a little like, here's the upcoming releases.
Yeah, buy more shit.
Exactly. And then when I was getting into it really big and they released a special edition, they brought up the same toys, but they had a green saber instead of a red saber. And the red sabers were the coveted because those were the original release. So if you had those, it was like you're the true fan.
Oh, I got those confused. Okay.
Yeah, that's why it was like eventually I stopped caring.
Oh, right.
But it was like originally it was like I've got to get the Red Saber figures because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And so I had a bunch of those, and I never took them out of their packaging. I ended up selling them years and years.
I remember.
I
that,
wish
yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
But I remember having Red Saber figures of weird offshoot characters.
Those were the best.
And they were so funny because at the time I would be so disappointed because like I remember one specifically, my uncle got me a Han Solo figure, and Han is my guy.
Okay.
so many other people's too, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
loved. He was a scoundrel,
Right.
And he got the ladies, and he was just so smooth talking and so confident in everything he did.
Yeah.
I just loved Han Solo, and he got me a Han Solo figure, and I flipped the fuck out, and it was like a big box, and I'm like, oh my god, what is this? Is a Millennium Falcon in here? Like, what is in this box? So it came with, and I don't know what the fuck this was from. He had the power lifter from Aliens.
Yeah.
It was
Get away from her, you bitch.
Yeah, it was like one of those, and Han sat in it, and then there were 2 giant machine guns that had kung fu flip action, and so you could lock them in place and then press a button, they would go, and they would flip out and point like they were shooting, and I'm like, what the fuck is this toy? Where is this in Star Wars ever? Did you just have random shit and you're like, let's do it? It's Han Solo. It's Star
Alien
Wars.
toys didn't sell, so they repainted them.
It had to be. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like, and I felt so like I hope it didn't come off that way.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sure no one remembers this but me.
Right. Because you're very sensitive.
But it's like you see Han, and then you see that, and you're
Uh-huh.
like, the fuck. And I remember I had it, and I was like, I'll take the Han toy, and I'll just let this thing go away. I might still have it in my basement, but it's like I remember that so vividly. Like that's not like a coveted Star Wars thing, but it's just such a funny story.
So my uncoveted item is not the same toy,
Right.
but the same thing. I was really big into Star Wars toys.
Yep.
This is early 80s though.
Okay.
So
this
when-
is like the original
This is the
run?
original
Nice.
stuff coming out. This is Kenner stuff. And
Yeah, I think mine was Hasbro. Yours was Kenner.
Okay. So when this was like after 83, they're still they're trying to throw everything they can throw
Sure.
at the wall to sell more shit because there's no movies.
Yeah.
And one was like it was like a fucking roach coach. It was like a Star Wars food thing, but with droids.
Okay.
And the droids would like, there was a gonk droid. There was there was like a droid with like a fishbowl head. But it looked like a little fucking like a roach coach, like a little food truck.
Yeah.
And I just remember being a little 5-year-old brat and just being like, what the fuck is this? And then lo and behold, I got a bug up my ass one day when I was in my 30s, and I was like, I wonder what that's going. Yeah, it's fucking thousands and thousands of dollars because no one bought it. Everyone thought it was stupid.
Yeah.
And like that's one of the more rare things.
And it's funny, but because that's what they did back then. They would just pump. I remember this is not Star Wars related, but it's offshoot toy related.
Which is Star Wars related.
Absolutely. They were kind of like they were the originators of the variant.
Oh, no shit.
Like, if you want to think variant covers from the 90s almost killed comic book industry, look at what they did to the toy industry.
No shit.
I remember 89 Batman came out, and I wanted a Batman figure so bad.
The toys were pretty fucking cool, man.
They were dope back then.
Yeah.
I remember I had gotten this really cool Joker, and it had a flower in the lapel, and you could put a real squeeze tube.
I remember that.
Remember that one?
Yes.
I did have that one. That was like a legit one I had.
Okay.
And then I got a Batman, and I'm like, oh my God, I got a Batman. Again, I open it up, Batman, and I see the Batman logo from the movie, and I'm like, oh, it's Batman, and it's a big box. I'm like, oh, it's got the Batmobile.
Oh no.
And then I open it, and I'm like, oh, and it's Scuba Batman.
I had that one.
You had it too? The bright yellow?
That was from Toys R Us. It was a Toys R Us exclusive.
No shit.
Because when I was getting into this shit, like toys and shit, my mom got into it because she saw the value.
Of course.
She saw like, well, this is going to be worth millions of dollars
you can
someday.
flip it, right.
Yeah. So she never flipped them. So they just sat in the fucking closet. But yeah, it was a yellow suited, and he had like this little like jet pack that went underwater that looked like a manta ray.
Yes. It was a big black like triangular thing.
Yes.
And you kind of had to like slip him in from the bottom.
Yep.
And,
I had that one and then the snow one. He had like snow camouflage.
Yes.
They were both Toys R Us exclusives.
Boom. I think is this it? I'm looking online right because I just need the visual.
Yeah,
confirmation.
no, I get it. Because that was literally on my wall for years because I collected like weirder toys.
Yeah. I think
And-
that's amazing.
I think it's fucking funny that we both had the same one.
Deep Dive Batman.
Deep dive.
Deep Dive Batman.
Oh, my box was different, but it had the exact same toy. Mine was like a square box.
That's what I had too.
Okay,
This
not the
must
blister
be-
pack.
No, this blister pack, this has got to be they've been re-releasing this stuff.
Oh,
So
but
I-
it's the same toy.
Yeah, it's $60.
Oh, eat a fucking dick. Wow, my mom was actually right. So funny story about the Batman toys. Yeah, that was it. That
Yep.
was it. Jesus,
That-
good memory, dude.
And I was just like, yeah, and here's that Goofy putting him in the thing, and he
that's
didn't
so
fit.
stupid. It didn't fit. All right,
It
I
was
remember
just
it.
like, what do I do? And my mom was like, you can take him in the bathtub. I'm like, he doesn't fit.
I already have a toy for the bathtub, Mom. I wish I was that street when I was a
Yeah,
kid.
right.
But so I used to find the Batman toys,
Yeah.
just Batman though, just Batman, and I'd find them for like 50 cents, $1 at like garage sales or whatever
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
I would buy them in droves. I had a bucket full of them
That's
because
awesome.
they were like the perfect size to mod down to make other toys.
Oh.
Like I loved Shadowhawk from Image.
Hell yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
I used a Wolverine head on a Batman body and I made Shadowhawk.
That's awesome.
And I was really into like Image, so I made a Spawn toy out of a Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept going, but the Batmans were like the perfect little figure that
Yeah.
I could paint and take apart.
well, they weren't too bulky either.
Yeah, right.
Like if you
right.
look back at like He-Man.
well, I mean, yeah, that
Those-
is a He-Man. That's it.
Yeah, but He-Man was really bulky.
Like uncomfortably so.
Yeah,
And
he was-
You don't realize it until way after.
Like you would think like, oh, is that a Stretch Armstrong? No, it's a rock solid He-Man figure. Like
So, what was your most coveted Star Wars thing? No, it doesn't have to be the most.
yeah.
But
Oh,
like
man.
one of. Like I'll give you mine. Give you a second.
Yeah,
to think
yeah,
about it.
please.
So when Star Tours
Mm-hmm.
opened up, not opened up, but like when it was around, I think
80
Universal
87
something.
or
I
88,
I was young.
Yeah.
My dad, me, and my mom all went, and like they liked Disney. They liked this. I couldn't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah.
I was into Star Tours
Yeah.
and Captain EO.
Oh, Captain EO was
and
dope back in the day.
Figment. Like
Figment was the best.
those were
I
my
was
jams.
a Figment nut. I'm with you.
I had a stuffed Figment toy, like a stuffed,
did
like
I.
a plush toy. It was hard getting rid of that in my 30s.
They did Figment dirty, by the way. They did Figment dirty.
So, Star Tours, you go into the Star Wars store,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't as like, I mean, it was gimmicky, it was kind of shitty, but they had like legit stuff there, like older Star Wars toys and older Star Wars stuff. So my dad saw on the wall a Empire Strikes Back poster we had never seen,
Mm.
and it wasn't like for sale.
Oh, it was just on display.
It was just on display.
okay.
So he asked if he could buy it.
Yeah.
And we did. And I still have that motherfucker. It is a pre-release coming soon to theaters
Oh wow.
poster for Empire Strikes Back.
That's
I don't know if it's
awesome.
official
sure.
or like legit. It's probably a reprint. 90% of me believe, 99% of me believes it's a reprint,
yeah,
but part of me hopes
that it's the original.
that it's original. But I've never seen it. I've never seen it in like print form. Like it says coming to a galaxy this summer.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And I remember they put out a lot of teaser posters like that. Like if you
Like
could
Revenge
get,
of the Jedi.
you've read my mind. I was
Yeah.
gonna say if you can get your hands on a Revenge of the Jedi because they're limited as
Well,
fuck.
not anymore because everyone and their brother
Well.
can fucking print them. But yes, going
but I
to
mean
like
the originals.
going
yeah.
to like comic book conventions,
Mm-hmm.
I used to try and hunt those down just to see them.
Oh yeah.
And there's always like every comic book convention you go to, there's always that one poster dealer.
Oh yeah.
And like now
bought a lot of 'em.
you see them all over the place.
Yeah.
But in the 90s, like when you saw one, it was like the fucking holy grail.
Oh yeah, because it was like, it was like that M&M's commercial. They do exist.
They do exist. Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of what you heard was, a lot of what I like. The comic book store was my watering hole. That was where I heard everything.
Right.
That was
right.
my news source for the nerd world. That and like Wizard magazine.
Well, yeah, same.
And I mean, comic books were their own thing, but like the people, because people just hung out at people don't just hang out at comic book stores anymore.
That's true. Well,
I learned this the hard way, kind
sadly, yeah, you're right.
I was going to Graham Crackers for a
Which
long
one?
time. I was going to the one down
St.
by
Charles?
Geneva.
Oh, wait.
Oh no, St. Charles.
Yeah,
St. Charles.
yeah.
And it's like it's so like sterile.
Okay, you gotta go to Wheaton.
Okay,
Okay,
that's the ticket.
highly doubt the guy who owns the shop is listening to this.
Yeah.
But it's Rick. Go see Rick's shop.
Okay.
The Rick owns it. I think he has like 1 or 2 employees. They fucking give a shit about this culture, and they will sit and talk with you all day.
I tried to strike up a conversation with the guy behind the counter at the St. Charles one, and I was like buying a couple X-Men backlog books, and he's like, "You like X-Men, huh?" I'm like, "I'm just catching up because this is what they're doing right now is really complicated, and I'm still trying to figure it out." And he goes off on this big nationalism rant, and I'm like,
What?
"Yeah, I don't want to talk about
Wait,
this."
what?
Yeah. He was like, well, nationalism, and they're kind of like X-Men are now kind of like the pro-Trump party, and I'm like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like he made it really,
Daredevil's getting pretty good, huh?
yeah. He was like, he just made it real political, and I was just like, I don't want to talk to you about this.
Mike Mignola's doing a new series.
Yeah, I want to be like, remember when Cyclops went pew? Like, I want to talk about the boom boom cool things, like who's Captain Krakoa? Oh, it's Cyclops. Yay! So yeah, I kind of like lost the culture there.
Yeah,
I did find another place that was kind of cool, but he had a really complex pull system. If you don't know what a pull system is,
No.
if you go to the comic book store and you go regularly,
Yeah.
you can have them.
Oh,
essentially-
pull.
Yeah,
Pull.
Pull.
Oh, I thought you said poll.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
yeah,
like, what's her name?
Pull.
Yeah.
And they'll whatever books you write down on your list, they will set them aside for you, or they will pull them for you.
Yeah.
and you have
And
a
you get
reserved copy.
You got your pull box.
Right.
Yeah.
So I went to this one, and it was, I don't even know where the fuck it was. Probably closer to like Carpentersville area.
Okay.
And it just says comics.
A lot of them do.
And the guy's really nice that works there. I went in there because I was coming home from work one day. I went in there and I was like, okay, I'm still getting back into the hobby. I'm kind of new. Like, can you show me how you organize the store? And he had like new releases over here, but some of them were worked in over here. Like it was a mess. And then I said, okay, well, do you do pull boxes?
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, so here's what you got to do. You got to go to my website and you have to create an account and log in. And then every week, the week before the book you want is coming out, you have to reserve it. But really what I'm doing is I'm ordering it for you. So he was doing like a custom order. He wasn't like stocking a store.
Well, I kind of understand.
And it
his
was
point.
cost effective for him because he's not buying more than he needs.
Because otherwise he has back issues that he can't do anything with.
Exactly. But for a guy who's just re-entering the hobby and doesn't understand what he likes and doesn't like, that was not an ideal environment for me.
Oh, man.
So I was like, well, I appreciate, and he was really cool, and I'd love to go back there. But now he like memorized my name and like was like, so I'm like, he's gonna like know me, and he's gonna be like mad that I didn't do anything.
The constant fear of the introvert.
Yes, indeed.
He's gonna know me.
Right. But okay, so going back to the question of what was the coveted Star Wars thing, there's a couple, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I'd say one that I just always loved, and this is a simple one, but they had it at my comic book store. And it was, at the time, a lot of money. They wanted like $125 for this. They had a thermal detonator replica. And if you pulled back the trigger, it did light up.
It would
and
go,
flash.
hey, yoto. Yay for the one person out there who got that reference. Anyway, continue.
Oh, I get it. I was just trying to think of the, that's Bosch, not Bosk. Bosch.
Well, Bausch.
Bausch, thank you.
It's
It's actually Leia disguised as Bausch.
And Bausch was a bounty hunter.
Yep.
Leia fucked up. My friend, sorry, I just have to go off.
No,
on a
do it,
tiny
do it,
little
do it, do
tangent. My roommate in college, we were sitting around just watching a movie one day, and he goes, "You know what? The Star Wars universe is pretty cool." And I said, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, yoto means 50,000, no less, and a yoto means he's holding a thermal detonator." He's like, that's a pretty cool language. And I lost my shit. I had to make a comic strip out of it and everything. It was just amazing. Like, and then he just went off and did his own shit for the rest of the day. But yeah,
I
so
love
Yoto, and Yoto, wildly different types of negotiation.
I love that. I like that in line with, speaking of the language, I love Huttonese.
Yeah.
Because of this one fact. When they were, two facts, and they're Jabba related. The first one, when they shot Jedi, as you know, they filmed all of Jabba's lines in English.
Yes.
And so when you watch his mouth, it moves to the subtitles and the pacing. But they
that I didn't know.
Oh yeah, you can watch his mouth, and it's opening and closing to the subtitles.
Shit.
And then they just had someone go in and ADR Huttonese on it.
Right.
The other one I like, and nobody knows this because this comes from that special edition CD-ROM I have. The first, when they were re-entering Jabba into A New Hope.
Yeah, right.
And Han, he's confronting Han in the hangar.
Han Jabuki.
Bingo.
Wait, what?
He, in the original version, it's like Jabba is a fat guy in furs.
He's got the fur coat. Yeah.
And then I always read it as, or heard it as, Han my Buki.
Okay.
Like Han my boy.
Yeah, right.
I call all my pets my Buki.
Oh.
And you're the only other person that remembers that I've ever met. Seriously.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm always like, Cody my Buki.
I love. Okay, now I have to know if is it Mabuki or Jabuki, because
you're probably right. It's probably Jabuki. That would make more sense from
Jabba,
a Huttonese.
Han
Buki.
Solo.
Han Buki, not Bukaki.
Buki. Buki Don? The fuck? Han Mibuki.
Mibuki. Okay,
or,
so
or
we're
Han M-E, so it's Han Mabuki. I hate how good you are at this.
But that, I remember they showed how they made that scene happen.
Yeah. I remember seeing that. Oh no, I saw that on the special edition, the Blu-ray. Never mind.
So yeah, that's just funny that you remember that. What was the other thing? Okay, so going back to my other coveted items.
Yeah, coveted.
I used to really be into the Star Wars cards, and I coveted a lot of those. I think you did
mention that.
A lot of things that I used to really covet were kids, and it's a lot of
kids.
No,
all right,
no.
R. Kelly. Let's wrap this shit up.
Well, that's that.
Yeah.
No, but when I was a kid, and I had friends that had their parents would go broke buying them the newest toys. So a lot of my stuff is toy related.
Well, I mean that's the era we grew up in.
Yeah,
too.
And I had a kid.
Wow,
I got
a whole other backstory that we didn't even know about. Andrew had a kid.
Dr. Pepper's Monster's failing me right now.
Bum.
I had a friend who was.
Oh, I'm sorry. You had a friend. Good job. You had a friend. Yay!
He was a really cool kid, but
I didn't know you needed energy for that one. Sorry.
I almost caught myself saying I had a friend who was a kid, and then it's like, we're right back where we started.
No, that's ignorant.
You're ignorant. But his parents he had all the cool Ghostbuster stuff. He had all the coolest Batman stuff, and he had, and I don't know how the frick he got it. This was in, so I was living in Missouri at the time, so this had to be between 87 and 89.
Okay.
He had a legit replica Stormtrooper helmet.
Oh, in that era.
Oh. And it didn't have like the voice changing technology.
Well, right.
But
that was like a cosplay thing.
It had something in it to where it made you sound like you were talking through like a muffled kind of like
kidding.
radio. No. And I don't know if they just put something in like the mouthpiece, but it's like he would put that on and he would kind of sound like a robot. And I'm like, that is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I don't know if someone made it for him. I don't know if he bought it. Like I have no idea if it was real. Like, but I remember it was my first sleepover, and we were playing. He wanted to play Batman, and he wanted to play Star Wars because he had all the fucking toys.
Yeah, right.
And he put that on, and he's like, I'm gonna be the Stormtrooper. I was like, are Are you sure about that? 'Cause I think I'm going to be the stormtrooper. That's fucking amazing.
I'm going to beat your ass when you're asleep and take your stormtrooper.
But that was like back then. Like he had the original proton pack. From the Ghostbusters.
God, the toy, the
yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
And remember, it had like the little foam noodle.
Yes,
and you could crank it, and it would.
Yes.
Like he had all of that shit, and like he had one for me and for him to play with when we played Ghostbusters.
How was his home life?
I don't know. His mom was really nice because I remember this was my first sleepovers at his house.
Yeah,
and I had a nightmare, and I will never forget this. I woke up and I was crying.
She nursed you back to sleep.
Dude, not in like a weird way, but she sat me down in the kitchen and she said, "Do you want a snack?" And I said, "I do." So she poured me a big glass of milk and she gave me Ninja Turtles chocolate chip teddy bears. You remember those?
No.
They were, teddy bears.
I know what Teddy Grahams were.
Teddy Grahams.
Yeah.
But they were in the shape of Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
And they were chocolate chip. And I was like, you have fucking Ninja Turtle cookies too? God damn. Like... And she was just the nicest person, like from memory, you know.
Like I really want to dissect this. This is not the show to do it, but like I want to dissect the fuck out of this.
Oh God, old school like snacks like that. Like, oh dude, the cereals.
Oh my God,
C3POs,
they were all terrible.
They're awful. Remember the Batman cereal?
Yes.
What the fuck was that? It's like you like Captain Crunch without the berries.
You like drywall, kids? Let's have some drywall.
Oops, they're all Batman logos.
Oops, they're all cavities now. Like that shit was so awful, and they were all the same thing. It was like one factory that was just like, oh no, the Mr. T, Batman.
Oh, dude, Mr. T.
Like what? Like why he never came out with an herbal tea is beyond me.
That's a very good point.
What the fuck?
Mr.
He missed
T's
an entire market.
What flavor is it? Feathers. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's I'm not getting on no fucking plane. Obviously, he never said fucking. Doesn't matter. It's like I pity.
I pity the fool.
I was trying to think of like a fruit that rhymed with fool, and I just can't.
Yeah.
It's late, dude.
I pity the passion fruit.
Oh,
That's close.
I passion the fruit.
There you go. There you go. I like it.
I ain't no getting on no lilac. I don't know. It's not even fucking funny. It's not even funny. I've been listening to a lot of the Harmon show. I'm finally fucking catching up.
Oh, you're going through Harmon Quest? Nice.
Not Harmon Quest, Harmon Town.
Oh, Harmon Town. Sorry, get them confused.
I just got
They're all
into
the same.
2015.
Oh.
And I know your wife, like, she was listening to them as they were airing. Were you?
Okay, so my attention span's bad with
I get
audio
that,
things.
yeah.
And I'm hit or miss on Harmon.
Okay.
And the crew.
Okay.
I'm
Jeff Davis, man. He gets to me.
like in
I don't want to talk about this.
not a huge fan.
I'm not a huge he's just so fucking full of himself.
Yeah. I
went to Paris and all these jerks were like, "Oh, are you gay?" No. And then they all fucked me. It's like, fuck you.
The only reason that I really liked Harmontown was because of some of the guests, like Bobcat Goldthwait or
oh my god,
Kumail Nanjiani was on it a lot. So I enjoyed a lot of that stuff.
Justin Roiland.
Wow.
I love Justin Roiland.
We can't talk about him anymore. He's canceled.
Wait, what happened? Oh, you told me about this.
Yeah, he like beat the shit out of people. I can't remember.
I still think he's funny as fuck.
Oh, he's hilarious.
He did an entire show telling people about lizard people.
Yeah.
And fully on believing it, or at least making it sound like he believed it.
I think he's very strange in the fact that he hates being alive, but he's too scared to die.
Yeah.
Like
he's a weird dude.
He's a very weird, strange fellow.
That's typically what makes the best art.
Absolutely.
Artists.
Dan Harmon is wonderfully damaged for his artwork.
Right.
But I feel sad for him as a person.
Yeah.
And that makes it hard for me to listen to sometimes because he's very self-destructive.
Yeah.
But
then again, best artists are
right. And
look at John Belushi. Look at look at most of the fucking comedians.
Oh
like,
yeah,
they're fucking like Robin Williams, man.
Dude, yeah. Robin Williams was a nice person. It seemed like though.
It did, yeah.
But yeah, there's just like moments where it's like when she would play stuff, I would laugh and I would really enjoy it. I think the other big deterrent for me was the time. They're like 3 hour
2 hours
episodes.
each.
Like that's a lot. Like
the irony as we enter into our third hour.
Well, it's different when I'm doing it. I want to talk to you all day.
That's
so
true.
it's like, but it's so from that aspect, I get it.
Yeah, right.
But it's like if it's me not knowing, or my commute to work is 45 minutes.
So you want that 45 minutes?
I want as much information as I can.
Right.
That's why I kind of like a lot of the podcasts I listen to now are kind of like either they are. I just started listening to one called Amazing Legends, where they talk about like ancient mysteries, kind of like In Search Of.
Oh, that's
and
very
shit
up
like
your
that.
alley,
Like
yeah.
I love. I just listened to one about the Nazca lines, and they went like into the archaeological things, and they told the history of the cultures, and I was like, I'm fascinated by
Holy
this.
shit.
It was really dope. Then I like other stuff where it's like call-in stuff, where it's like, "Hi, do you have a ghost story? Call me," and I'm like, "All right."
Cool.
And it's one called Campfire Tales. And the host, he's a old radio guy that used to be with Art Bell on the Coast to Coast podcast.
No shit,
if
yeah.
People know that.
Yeah.
His name is Jim Harold, and he takes people's phone calls, and they tell their stories about supernatural things, UFO stories, and it's just random people from all over the world.
I love that.
And I'm just fascinated by not only the meaningfulness behind it in a lot of them,
Yeah.
but the consistencies between stories.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's
that's
cool.
terrifying, though.
It's terrifying.
That's when I start getting the willies.
Because he'll say stuff like, "You won't believe this, but I record these calls on random days and I mishmash them together." He's like, "I took these two calls back to back and they're about the same thing." It's like, whoa, that's kind of weird.
That is.
So
yeah.
that just peaks, and we've talked about this before, the world having mystery.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
how
right.
Getting
right.
older, it's kind of like, so it's all just corporate bullshit and money and hatred. And then it's like
wanna
that.
believe.
That kind of makes me want to believe, or
Yeah.
like helps me try to suspend my belief a little bit.
Right.
Like,
right.
yeah, there's more out there. There's some crazy shit going on. I know they just disproved the Bigfoot footage from back in the 70s.
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, they used AI and they stabilized.
Oh, I was like, back then? No. I was like, shut the front door. How did
They and I didn't read the full article, but I had seen stabilized versions of the footage.
Yeah.
And now they've like layered AI on top of it to clean it up and to map out a clearer picture of what it is. It's a
Yeah.
guy in a suit.
I mean, it makes complete sense.
Absolutely.
On this note, I will end.
Yeah,
tonight's
we've
podcast.
gone way off onto a tangent.
I need to
Star Wars.
I need to tell you a quick story.
Oh, please.
I broke down in Savannah, Illinois,
Okay.
and I needed to get my car fixed.
Yes.
The guy who picked me up brought me back to his, we'll call it a garage.
Okay.
I'm being very,
Generous.
very generous calling it a garage. And his coworker insisted on telling me all about the time he met Bigfoot.
Oh, good.
I have this on video. Not the whole thing, because I was fumbling for my fucking phone in my pocket.
Yeah.
Trying to find the camera app because I don't know where my audio recorder app. I was like, fuck it, just record video. And I shoved it in my pocket. And I have audio of this guy telling me his story about when he was down by the creek. No, not that creek, the other creek down by the he just went off
Oh,
and told
my
me.
God.
And Bigfoot came out of the trees, rustling the trees, and he looked around, he saw him, looked at him right in the eye, and was like, fuck you. And then Bigfoot left. And I looked at the first mechanic,
Yeah.
and he looked at me and said, yeah, it's a story.
Kind of like, it happened.
Well, like-
maybe.
I couldn't tell if they were fucking with me
Yeah.
or I was in a very dangerous situation and I wanted to go home.
I love that story. I love it when people are so forthcoming with things that happen to them.
Yeah.
And we're the type of people that people just trust us with
They
that
just
information.
open up.
They're like, you look like you want to hear about my trauma. Like, oh, okay.
That is, yeah.
And we're nice people, and we'll listen. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And then it's like, what the fuck was that?
I don't like it.
Some people catch you off guard though. And shit like that, when I've had random people come up to me and say, do you believe in ghosts? And I say, I absolutely believe in ghosts.
Probably
I'm
because
like,
you have that giant fucking book under your arm.
Probably.
I believe in ghosts.
yeah, well, I do carry
Volume
that
4,
around with
yeah.
me. I keep my car keys in it. But I will listen to anybody's ghost story. Like if someone's like, I have a story, I will listen to it and I will go, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that. And then I'll walk away going, I don't know about that.
All right, I'm gonna set you up with a challenge, and then we're gonna end this.
All right.
If I am a good podcaster, I will find that video and I'll put it at the end of this.
Oh
so
yeah,
you can
please
listen
do.
to
I would love to hear
the
it.
end of this bullshit fucking story that I've met in Savannah, Illinois.
I would love to hear it.
You need to do a podcast. I don't care how many episodes it is. I don't care if it's 1 or 2 or whatever. Go around fucking Elgin.
Okay.
Go around Elgin, the town we're in,
Yep.
and go talk to shop owners and see who believes in ghosts and tell them their stories. I know at least one person who will refuse to fucking talk to me. Granted, her store shut down.
Okay.
But I know there's more because multiple people have said the exact same fucking story. She refused to talk to me because she was afraid that if she were to talk about it again,
it would come back.
I've heard the same.
It's a legitimate fear.
Elements of what she was hinting at from other people around Elgin, because Elgin is built on Elgin is the second floor.
Right.
Walking down the street, that's the second story. There's another town underneath.
Oh.
There's a fuck ton of history behind Elgin and a lot of ghost stories. Above the Blue Box Cafe is like the neighborhood like downtown neighborhood association.
Yeah.
The lady who runs that full on fucking sees ghosts. And I just haven't done it yet. But dude, this is way more up your realm and I would listen to the shit out of that, especially if it's like centralized to like one town.
Yeah.
And then you just talk about everyone here who has a ghost story.
Oh, I love it. I had no idea. I know you did a lot of research in Elgin when you first moved here. You got really into the history.
I got really into the history. Yeah, it's really cool.
And I know there's a lot of bad that came out of here.
Oh, God,
a lot of bad, especially when the mental institute opened up and people were like, what's wrong with you? You're sad? Better send them to Elgin. And there's a lot of fucked up. And
then they just let them go.
We both lived by that.
Yep.
And people would escape.
Yep. All the time.
All the time.
Like not even like a once in a while thing. It was just like another one got away.
On the news, another one's out, and they are armed, but they're heading in a different direction. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Fuck you, St. Charles.
Yeah. Thank God. I do not need that in my life right now. But no, that sounds really interesting. I would be so down to talk to people about their ghost stories because I love hearing them.
Dude, and that's what it is like you love listening to the ghost stories. And this is literally you talking to someone, and you believe it's not like you're like placating them. And fuck, all you gotta do is go bring some like lav mics, go and sit down with them and chill out. Oh my God, I would listen to the hell out of that. And now that we have a podcast network,
yes, we do,
that we're not probably gonna take too seriously. Don't care.
But I just think that's so cool, and I'll leave it with this. So going in ghosts, and I could talk about ghosts all day. I won't talk about ghosts all day here. But I was talking the other day. Someone asked me about spirituality and religion, and I'm like, well, I'm not a really religious person, but I think I'm spiritual. You know,
yeah.
I think there's something else. I think ghost stories there's enough evidence in my head to make it make sense. And whoever I was talking to told me their version of what they think like a godlike being would be.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I can't remember. It was very complex how they described it.
Wow.
And they said like, well, what do you think? And I said, it's nothing like that. I think my thing is more intimate, I guess. Especially as I've been like thinking about things a lot more. People talk about sending things to the universe and seeing what comes back.
Yeah.
And I do that all the time. But in my head, I'm not just sending it into this black void of the universe. I have when I say more intimate, I think about the people that I have loved that have passed. I feel that love carries over.
Yeah.
And I always imagine them. It's like if I'm driving in my car and I put whatever that is into the atmosphere, I'm not talking to nothing. I'm like looking in my rear view thinking they're in the back seat, like my grandparents or the people that I've lost. And I'm like, you're the people who were rooting for me and loved me before you moved on.
Yeah.
So I like to think, hey, you're the people that would be watching over me, helping me succeed as I do this stuff. And I told that to somebody, and they're like, Whoa. So that's kind of like the ghost thing. As I don't think it's all like spooky, creepy, bad stuff. I think there's more of that upbeat stuff. But that's kind of how because that makes sense to me.
Yep, same here.
Because I knew those people, you know, and it's like
energy doesn't just evaporate.
Exactly,
energy is continuous,
and I feel like I'm like, well, the universe doesn't care about little old me, but they did.
But the love and the energy that was connected to you might,
exactly.
Yeah, there's still the connection.
That's my little.
You know, okay. Last fucking thing, and then I'm fucking done. I've always wanted to believe in spirits. I've always wanted to believe in connection. I've always wanted to believe that, you know, our loved ones are still with us.
Yeah.
And like my mom, oh my God, you want to talk about ghost stories? My mom will tell you fucking.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Like real fucking like spine kind of like twinkling, not like scary, but like she's seen them. 100% flat out, no lie. She will talk about it all goddamn day.
Wow.
But and some of them are a little fucking creepy.
Oh, I can only imagine.
But I never saw it.
Right.
And I'm the kind of person who is like, I need to see it to believe it.
Sure.
And I always wanted to see it. I always wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
And when my cat died, Bugsy.
Oh yeah.
And there was like we were in mourning for him for a while.
Oh, how could you not be?
It was really rough.
Oh, dude, he was a phenomenal cat.
I agree. But he hated our other cat, Knox.
Okay.
He would constantly fucking hit her and chase her. He hated her because Knox is very entitled. She's a little twat.
Sure.
And Bugsy would just run after her and corner her, and like it was funny because Knox is a little piece of shit sometimes. And then after Bugsy died, Knox was kind of like walking around a little higher, and her head was like, "Oh yeah, no one's here to bother me." And then one night we heard her fucking panic, ran downstairs and was like hissing, and she's like, "No, no, no, no," and she's running around.
Yeah.
And we came down here to see her. No one was around her. The other two cats that we had were upstairs.
Right.
Didn't have the dog at that time.
Right.
No one was near her. And she was like, she'd walk around the house like looking over her shoulder, like twitching and shit. And I'm like, my fucking Bugsy boy is picking on her from the afterlife. Wow. And now I love him even more.
That's fantastic.
Like it literally connected. Like every belief was just like, yep, I 100% believe.
Wow.
That's my proof.
That's fantastic.
It just made it so fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because it's that if that's all they've known, you gotta believe.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, and on that note,
that's it.
We're ending the episode on a good note on my dead cat.
But Star Wars.
Star Wars. Star Wars. May the 4th be fucking done because May 25th is Star Wars Day. Fuck May 4th.
Also with you.
I don't believe in all one fucking powerful source. Okay, I'm done. Fuck this. Thank you.